Hello and welcome back to the Pro League. It's another day, another dawn, and some fresh faces on the desk for what is now week 4, matchday 14. They have flown by. I was about to say they've flown by for all of us, but Chad, hey bro, how you doing? He's only just landed, basically, essentially. Well, how's the time zones doing? Where are you at right now?
It's only 6 hours behind. It's not too bad.
It's actually not too bad.
Yeah, it's great.
Why did I think it was, like, mind-boggling?
Normally, I have to fly for 24 hours, so that's normally the issue.
Okay, so life's actually not too bad for you right now.
I'm loving
fresh.
it. This is great.
He's probably looking the freshest of the desk, alongside Miss Henry G.
I'm a little bit disheveled. Got back from Kiev yesterday.
Yeah.
Not my best, but, you know, I'm here. I'm ready.
Yeah,
That's important, you know.
So did you sample what Ukraine has to offer on your last night?
Yes, in more ways than one, Alex. I tried out all the local delicacies, if you know what I mean.
It took us 2 minutes, Henry. I was trying to keep this boat afloat, and I can try and do that now. Okay, so he's been to Kiev, he's had some fun. You're feeling fresh. You had some potatoes in your apartment.
Yeah, there's some sprouting potatoes and some moldy bread.
Yeah.
Pretty delicious.
That's it. And of course, that's the level of analysis you have to expect throughout this evening. Tell your friends, tell your mum, tell your pets, tell your aunt's pets, and all of them that we've got some fantastic CS to look forward to today. But first, we're going to remind you what we did have last week. So let's recap last week's ESL Pro League, because we did have a bit of a blockbuster, especially that second game between the Double Fs, Fnatic and FaZe. The first, however, did go their way on Mirage, and then moving into Mouse Sport to definitely going to be the topic of many CS analysts' conversations. However, we'll avoid that for now here on the desk. Of course, given their coaching changes. Penta did fall to them in 2 maps, keeping it close in both, though. That was, of course, on matchday 13. We're now venturing into 14, so you've got a lot to look forward to today. Current standings, how that affected things, because FaZe have been rocking it recently, and I mean, Sponge, I don't know how much you've voiced your opinions of FaZe and their form recently, but I mean, 11-5 kind of speaks volumes about how they've been doing.
Well, they're doing fantastic in the overall standings right now. They're a bit different from their LAN results recently, but yeah, they're loving it online. It's great to see, you know, the addition of old mate. I'm forgetting his name right now. It is Alu.
That Finnish fellow.
Yeah, he's not that forgettable, really. Is he? No, he's. It's good to see they're doing well with him and the team, and it's very.
But I mean, we always talk about their playstyle. Do you think it's a bit silly to talk about it like that? You know, that they've got a different playstyle to everyone else. This 11-5 surely suggests it's working.
Running around shooting people in the head usually works.
Yeah,
that's a good style.
This is the thing, right, Alex? When you have a new team like this, they're quite difficult to counter. You don't really know what they bring to the table, especially when they bring Alu in. It's quite difficult to download and work out how you're going to approach them. So this is kind of the honeymoon period, we call it. Okay. After about a month or so, it starts to get worked out and people can start countering it. At the moment, they're in that perfect phase where you can actually perfect phase. See what I did there?
That was hot.
That's very punny.
Starting doing buttons.
They're in a perfect world where they can actually have this unknown quantity working in their favor.
I mean, talking of, you know, I forgot the link because they've got confused by a joke, but you said something about structure and work it out. I was trying to bring in Navi into the discussion because, of course, you were talking about how FaZe been doing offline. Navi had a little bit of a surprise over in Kiev as well. Yep. 6-0 in the Pro League, though. They're just slowly trundling along. You think they're probably one of the front runners alongside FaZe to kind of end high in this league, Henry?
You'd assume so. With Simple coming in, it looks like on paper it should be the best team going forward in the world, potentially. Yeah. We saw them at the LAN in Kiev. We actually got a chance to interview them as well. They're in a place right now which is quite strange. They thought everything online was working very nicely. They got to the LAN, didn't really come together. They actually ended up losing to Astralis in overtime. And you could tell the team approach was good. Everyone was fragging. There was just something missing from it. And I think they're going to need about 2 or 3 months to actually make this the team they wanted to be. Right now, they're still using the exact same roles as what they had before. So Simple is actually filling in for Zeus. He's doing the same role. He's not going to be AWPing right now, but it's going to be happening in the future. So definitely a project that's going to be building up to something greater in the future.
That's a fun word, I think, for what Navi are doing now, a project. We'll be talking more about them when we do see them in the Pro League. But for now, we have to talk about the teams and matches that are going down today. Let's pull them up on your screens and you can see what you have to look forward to. We start with Fnatic versus Virtus Pro, and there's a lot of interesting discussions to be had there, which we'll be venturing into in just a second. But after that, you'll be seeing G2 and Dignitas go head-to-head as well. Alongside that, off-stream, you get FaZe Mouse and Penta Heroic, who have actually been catching and turning a lot of heads recently. That'll be available on our second stream, so do be sure to check that out if you're intrigued to see how any of those games do play out. Of course, we've already hinted that FaZe versus Mouse could be one to watch. But the first game, as we've already seen there, is going to be going into VP and Fnatic. You had some fun facts for us. You'd scrolled some things down about this matchup. What would you suggest, to someone that's unfamiliar, why is Fnatic VP, especially this new Fnatic, going to be a match worth watching?
Well, the new Fnatic's pretty exciting. You know, they're an unknown quantity right now. They've got that the 3 players from LGB, the Twist, Dennis, and Olaf, and they've reunited, and they were good together in the past, and then they're excited to see what they can do now. You have Lekro and the addition of Wenton, who Fnatic actually had standing in while Olaf was injured. So it'd be interesting. They're doing quite well in the league, considering. They have some mixed results so far, lots of overtimes and stuff in Pro League, so nothing fantastic. But they're looking like they're a stable team, and they're slowly working up to a stable roster.
Yeah, indeed. And I think while the names were on the screen, the next question I have for you, Chad, before we do start the Lecro discussion with you, Henry, I just want to quickly touch on Mr. Olof. Now, there seems to be a general consensus that he hasn't found the form he had pre-injury. What's your opinion on Olof and his current performances? I mean, have we seen the world's best player title start making its way towards him again or not?
I think after the injury, he probably had a lot of mental things going into it.
Yeah.
Probably a lot second guessing himself, probably. And once he gets over that, or if he can get back over that injury, then you're going to see the best Olof again, obviously. But yeah, he would be disappointed in his form. And obviously that's showing in their results. He's not able to carry the team as he was in the past. And he's still having those moments. He's being really flashy, getting those awesome entry kills and opening up sites, but, not consistently.
Yeah, and someone that has been doing it, of course, a nice little segue there, is Mr. Lecro. Now, you had an opportunity. You actually flew on a plane.
I did. On a real-life plane.
Iron Bird.
Yep.
What steel? I don't know how materials work. You can tell us a little bit about how you ventured into Sweden and Lecro's discussion.
Yeah, so the thing is, right, he's kind of exploded onto the scene. He came from FPL. That's the big storyline here. He played in lower tier Swedish teams, and he got picked up by Godsend. That was crazy at the time. No one had really heard of him. We saw him have his premier debut at Malmo, and people couldn't believe how good he was. We had that amazing semi-final of him versus NIP as well. Completely godlike performance. People couldn't believe it. And then he kind of dropped off. That team kind of disappeared. For maybe 2 or 3 months, they had a horrible online results. It didn't really come to any lands. And then we thought, okay, well, that might be the end of him. But then we had the big roster shuffle, right? Fnatic and Godsend coming together. And Lecro, believe it or not, he's actually part of this new Fnatic team, the previous best team in the world. Dennis and Olof with him as well. It's going to be quite exciting. He's one of those players that he's very hungry to do it. That's what I like about the Swedish talent pool right now. There's so many skilled players that you don't actually have. They haven't been tainted yet by the success, They're actually ready. They want to do the hard work. They want to actually show what they're made of.
No, I find that really interesting. That's a storyline that I can really get into. I don't know about you, Chad, but the whole idea, I can't think of many other sports or competitions where you could have someone who, from such a short timeline, go from being a fan of Pronax, watching him on the big stage, and then sitting in there on a team with him. Lecro then proceeds to go ahead and give a good game to NIP, probably his idols not too long ago, all because of this video game. He's making good money now. I mean, is there a storyline like that anywhere else? I mean, it just seems to be rather unique, a unique case.
I think maybe in the Danish scene, you've seen that over the last few years. Not to the same extent of Lecro, but you've always seen a bit of an outlier just appear and then become a star. I suppose with AZ.
Oh, AZ is a good shout.
Yeah, Valdi, recently. He's one of those guys in the more recent scene, but you can go back as far as AZ, just appearing, and then Kirby as well. So they seem to have these players who just rock up every now and again, and they just make it into a team and get to live their dream.
There's something in the Scandinavian water. Man, we need to work out what it is, because UKCS has not quite got there yet.
It's coming.
Is it?
Wow.
That was such an exciting statement.
I thought I might to say something, stick up for, I'm not sure. I haven't really been following it enough recently. I haven't seen anything since Chad got beaten, actually, in Dream at London, I think.
I wondered if that was going to come out.
That did not take long.
Got it in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Easy skins, easy life, right? Yeah.
That's how it works. Or it did work for a while.
For one day. I think it worked. That was the last time.
So, but we haven't actually people may be unfamiliar with what you've been up to, Chad. I mean, I've seen you on the front page of Reddit just hanging out making dank memes. But
have you?
What have you been up to since you stepped down from the player plate?
I've been doing some swearing.
Yeah, cool. Which you're not going to do here, of course.
No swearing here. Unfortunately, I'm going to let everybody down, besides my old man. He told me not to swear. So, he said try not to swear. So
I think try is the operative word.
Yeah. It's not that hard, surely.
I don't know. I think, your brain sometimes turns off. I made a mistake. I think my last mistake was in Katowice. Yeah, did make a mistake.
What did you say?
I can't remember. No idea. I had Sadikis saying some naughty words in Kiev, actually, the other day as well. So the bar's pretty low.
He did, actually.
He did, yeah.
He did, I remember.
I was staying up to date, I was.
Yeah.
The maps, though, we're going into are going to be Cobblestone and Dust 2. Now, you saw me writing down this question, Chad, and you were like, oh, here we go again. It's the same bloody story about Cobblestone. I want to ask it anyway. Can I do it? I've written down. I want to do it. Okay, so every analyst seems to get frustrated about the way CT side Cobble plays. And it's been, chopped and changed for however long, but the main words are just play for info. Info is hard to gather. Has there been anyone that has kind of changed that or has managed to innovate in any way to kind of alter that? Or is Cobblestone always going to be this very awkward CT-sided, T-sided map?
So I think we saw SK and Nip do some pretty ingenious Molotov use at B-Long. It was pretty heavy utility use, but that's the best way that they could get information and map control on that B-Long section of the map. You see teams boosting up in drop and also going for A-Long pushes, but that kind of stuff, it's very risky. And when you find the information, you still have a long rotation before you can actually do anything about it. So that kind of stuff for Cobble makes it so hard to gather information, like you're saying.
And now, of course, the stairs were added. You're talking about Molotovs. Was there too much excitement? I've spoken to Henry about these stairs already, and he seemed rather unimpressed. But for you, was it the revelation that Cbble needed?
I never played a professional game on that version of Cbble.
Okay, fair.
So I didn't really get to see how it worked.
From a viewer's perspective?
Well, I think it adds a bit more diversity to the platform. You get a lot more jewels and stuff in that area where it's more close range, and people are able to play around that stair and smoke area a lot easier now.
Sure. I mean, and we do see a lot more kind of that aggressive AWP peaking that you wouldn't have otherwise seen without the boost. It was too much of an investment, I guess, of resources. What is your prediction, though, Henry, in terms of you seeing these two teams on paper? Because I can't help but feel most people have actually put a rather inconsistent tag on this Swedish roster.
Well, I think it can be said for both teams, to be fair. Like we saw Virtus Pro and Kiev probably have the quickest tournament of all time. The two best of ones turned up, got 16-7 twice, and then disappeared. It wasn't a pretty showing. And normally Virtus Pro are known as the LAN beast. They normally have horrible online performances, and they turn up and they're always amazing at LAN. Problem is they were quite focused on a media day or something like that in Kiev. They didn't turn up for day one. They came on day two because they had media before, and they turned up and literally got knocked out twice and lost the Asians to open things up as well, which was a really shocking result. This one, it's if you're asking me to predict, Alex, I would say I'd probably favour towards Fnatic right now.
Right.
They're a team that's obviously evolving every week, and like I said, they've got those hungry young players who want to work really hard. Obviously, Olaf and Dennis, they know there's a lot of pressure on this lineup. It's kind of controversial the way they've put it together. They only really have 3 maps they play, which is Dust 2, Cbble, and Cash. That's as of the interview last week. So obviously they're probably working really hard to expand that map pool. But tonight, that's perfect. It works out. Yeah. And the problem was their T sides weren't actually amazing on Cbble. The CT was actually pretty solid. They were working together. It's easier, I'd say, to coordinate a unit to actually work and have the crossfires. Sure. And obviously that's quite easy to set up. It's the coordination, the synergy on the T side that wasn't really working out for them. So whether they've worked on that, yet to be seen. I'd like to see it happen. I'd like to see them have a decent T side approach. And then they should be picking up this win. I'd say considering Virtus Pro form of what I saw, that would be my prediction tonight. I mean, we've not got all day. In fact, it's actually very close to game time. But this whole inconsistency discussion is always just, I still haven't had an answer, and I've asked this a multitude of times. Like, why are some teams more inconsistent than others? Chad, I think you've been plagued by that, in your professional career as well. I'm sure have you got to the bottom of it at all? Have you got some form of kind of idea as to where these inconsistencies spawn from?
I think it's mentality.
It is?
Some people think it's a cop-out, but I think it's mentality. Like, it's a huge part of how you approach the game and how you prepare for it and how much you value it, which when the stakes are as high as what these kind of tournaments are, you need to be 110% all the time. And I don't think some of these teams are, which is unfortunate.
You don't think they're as focused as they should be?
Well, maybe they have too much going on. Okay. Maybe they don't respect not the tournament, but they don't respect their opponent and the tournament that they're encroaching.
Well, we saw teams like Navi. We discussed them dropping out. They had to go for that week-long boot camp with SK Gaming,
That's true.
That was just a sponsor deal. That was nothing beneficial to the team. That was a week-long kind of sponsor.
Take some pictures in each other's shirts.
That was a waste of time. Ultimately, they played like 8 maps in total.
Is that it?
And for a boot camp, before a big event, you're a new team. You really want to work hard. I guess that this is the same thing with Virtus Pro. The media day, the day before the tournament. Sure. And obviously, when you get to this top end level of CS and you're working with big names and huge sponsors, there's certain requirements that are needed for you to actually get the money within the organization. So there's. Okay. In these examples, like Navi and VP, that's recently what's been going on.
So, I mean, it sounds like there's a balance to be struck, and currently it's people are trying to work it out.
What's the greater good for the team right now? Like, obviously, getting the money in and getting the orgs and sponsors happy is great, but if you're not winning tournaments, you're dropping out of that. What's more detrimental to the ongoing team?
So the grind is basically... I hate using that word, the grind.
It's almost as good as cringe.
Oh, yes. Oh, that was such a cringy moment. Did you see that cringy moment on the desk where Chad looked lovingly into Alex's eyes?
That's been the whole time, isn't it?
This is lovely, actually. We're locking eyes for quite
I can't wait till this ends up.
I can't wait either. They are loading in, though, guys. So we've got just a moment more to talk about. Just one individual that seems to slip under the radar in almost every desk when I am addressing the new Fnatic roster. And that is, of course, you hinted at him earlier, Wenton and his stint from prior Fnatic and then, of course, making his way into the roster. I think he kind of falls similarly into the Lekro in terms of... Was he on the Swedish CS radar much more than Lekro, or was he kind of a similar story?
I think he was probably a bit more on the radar than Lekro.
Sure.
But he's not as explosive as a player like Lekro. And apparently they're trying to groom him as the in-game leader. So they're using Jumpy to help assimilate him into that and teach him. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out and if that's going to be a long-term strategy of the team or if they've just thrown together whatever players they thought were available at the time when this swap happened.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. A player who's untested at the big tournaments and trying to be the in-game leader for someone like that, Delophononos, it's a lot of pressure. And I'm not too sure how it's going to work out, but let's hope it's positive.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out if it is positive right now. Sedicus knows all about that. Can you just quickly, though, give me a prediction, Chad? What have you got for me? Henry's already told us. What about you? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think Virtus are going to show some good form. You know, Cobble's a good map for them. I think they're going to win this one.
He's given the polls.
The 50-50 has been laid down.
Yeah, there you go. We've flipped our coin. That isn't even a coin, but we flipped it all the same, and we're going to go ahead and head over to our casters. Before we do, though, let us know if you're enjoying it. What are your expectations for the match? Hit us up at ESLCS, or wait a second. The hashtag is ESL Pro League. There you go. My brain slowly got us there. Hashtag ESL Pro League, and let us know what you are enjoying and what you're not. Still, we'll head over to the casters now. Mitch and Pansy are standing by for map 1.
Thank you very much, Alex. We are situated here at the desk, and it's always a shame to cut an amorous story between Machine and Chad short, but we must. Good, though, to have him on the desk, though. Good to have Sponge along. Pleasure.
We
I'm not
need
outnumbered
more
anymore. I'm not outnumbered anymore. That's great.
It's horrific. I'm starting to become, you know, maybe a minority here.
Yeah.
More diversity.
We got enough of that. All right.
We
got enough of that right
we
here.
We definitely do.
Anyway, let's jump into this one, Lauren, as well. Going to be an interesting match. Virtus Pro, I would say they were shocking, actually, at Star Series. I would say, I think especially like a few individual problems. I think Pasha's performance over the 3 maps that they played was on average 35% lower than the rest of his teams, if you want to use rating as a metric.
And the thing coming into Cbble as well, speaking of Virtus Pro, is the fact prior to Star Ladder, they were on a 9-map win streak. They were back-to-back victories, then they met Envy, and of course it was Apex having that very, very substantial performance increase, and of course they dropped the ball. So it does just display that Virtus Pro were not on form throughout that tournament, be it the issues that plagued them, as Henry highlighted, or whatever it may be. That was not the VP that you wanted to see here. But Fnatic have shown flaws in this as well. That loss to Hellraisers was atrocious. That is not something you should be seeing every day of the week. That was absolutely atrocious, as said. So now we're going to have to see what we got coming into this one. Virtus Pro going to be starting up on the T side already. Dennis is going to find Bialy. A lovely beginning here. That's the one little bit of a flank cut off, and the 4 players going to be making their way up middle. Twist, great position though. No one's checked this, and still he's getting away with murder here.
No, the fact that he's not murdering anyone, that's kind of the problem for Twist at this stage. He misses a few shots. He had the information, but now lacking teammates on the side. Virtus Pro can eventually just, swing their head around like meerkats and go and hunt him down. Olafmeister with a big task in his hands to make his way out from the ramp. It's not going to happen. And there's something to say, at least in favour of Virtus Pro. On the maps we've seen them play Cobblestone, their T-side pushes to A have been good. They're very good at getting maybe one open and completely screening the side off from any rotations via B and connector.
Yeah, you're spot on. And Fnatic's CT side was the stable side. Henry brought up on the desk that their map pool has, they've, I guess, hinted at the fact that they are looking at picking up Cobble into their map pool. We've only seen it once so far, and it was that Hellraisers game. It looked very one-dimensional. If you throw back to what Yanko was discussing on the desk there, it wasn't a pretty sight.
It was the T-side that was their problem on that map.
So if Virtus Pro, I feel, get a really good T-side going, that could be a huge issue for Fnatic. No buffer to turn it around and show that improvement on their T-side. However, we are seeing the force up into round 2. Fnatic going for the Scout, the Deagles, upgraded pistols, bit of armor to supplement, and then Virtus Pro, Bialy and Taz looking for the farm, and the rest just supplementing with that little bit more firepower behind them.
Yeah, 2 players from Fnatic being drawn towards A long here, and it's just Neo to throw down that one. But Dennis is the vanguard. He catches out Pasha as he comes straight through. Will have to just give up his positioning now as the tag comes in. Now Olaf will step into his place, close range with the Desert Eagle, maybe even peeking for some information. He might be his undoing though, as Snacks cuts him down with the AK. Virtus Pro buying him proper rifles here in this round, so they're not to be trifled with, and Dennis will have to back away here from B.
Yeah, but we've seen that Dennis can be a huge pain in the arse pretty much at this point. He loves playing by that chicken coop area. He can buy time. Him staying alive normally is really, really influential, but Neo has a bit of a plan in mind. He's leading the way. He needs to get ahead of the curve, try and get there as fast as he can, see if it's secured. Basically trailblaze his way towards A. The rest then can focus on the plant. Lecroy's going to watch the cross. They've got the utility to smoke it out, cut off that little kind of side entrance with the molly. He can see this though, and that's a blinder. Takes down Snacks. That's Bialy gone. Suddenly this round has gone on its head. I don't know how Virtus Pro didn't even consider that anyone could be at that balcony.
Virtus Pro, the power has just been stopped. Someone's thrown a stick in the spokes, as it were. Lecroy will be challenged out here, but he has Wenton at least to create a trade scenario, which is great for the CTs at this stage. They have the man advantage, and now just a pressure on towards the site. It'll be Neo trying to stand tall. He finds Dennis. Lecroy trying to, again, weave some wizardry over towards that A side, but it may not be enough here. No, the Deagle will finally let him down, and Taz comes through for 2. But Virtus Pro, that was a costly win in that round.
Yeah, 15 HP away from losing that round. Again, if any of these rifles could have been recovered, that could have been so much more troublesome at the end of it, but beautiful work from Lecro. Again, Snacks and Bialy a little unfortunate that no one was really kind of facing that, but then again, you know, the 1Ds come out and it just happens sometimes. But yeah, made it costly for Virtus Pro considering the amount of rifles they invested into that. They kept a good few though, so at the end of the day, it's not all lost. They can go back into this with a nice buy. Bialy just going to abscond away, and we will see almost what you would say a classical eco, apart from Lekro going in on the Deagle, and why not? He already shows certainly versed in using it.
We saw Twist before as well. He wasn't able to see if there's any Virtus Pro players over towards A because of the smoke in towards middle, but Olaf catches Taz as he pushes on towards the site. Now, Virtus Pro, this is a bit of a jilted move towards the site. Slow, being slowed up indeed. Olaf Maestro gets away with just going for the peak there. Dennis falls, but Bialy has to test with the Tech 9.
I don't know how Taz got caught then. Again, it is Olaf, let's be real. Wenton's found one. And losing out on anything here is really, really worrying. They can recover one of the rifles lost, but that's a whole AK gone. So Fnatic's making this costly at the sake of absolutely sod all invested. You know, Neo will keep it in check, but a round on the board nonetheless, which is what Virtus Pro will be looking at here. Let's be very real about that. But it could have been cleaner. It could have been better. Their money's not as robust as it could have been, but it's still fine enough. A good enough buy is going to come out here for them. And on the other side, Fnatic didn't get much damage done at the early stages, but enough they'll be getting, you know, the full utility, a couple of kits. You know, they've got enough to buy into this one. So hopefully we get to see more of a competitive round.
I still VP win 3 in a row and actually don't have a heck of a lot of money still left in the chamber after how much damage Fnatic were able to inflict on them. So that's the best you can hope for in a situation after losing that pistol, often anyway. But VP now smokes up. There's one towards B long, and obviously one towards mid. So Wenton, a little bit more cavalier in trying to uncover some of the movements of Virtus Pro here. He's not going to find a lot of info, but the spray through will give him a brief tell.
Well, yeah, already Wenton and Twist have fallen back towards site. They've given up, you know, long control. They're playing it from maybe APC, or they can play it from site itself. You know, it's pretty much this. They're almost at the beck and call of Virtus Pro at this point. They've been pushed back, and that's the brilliance of being on the T side, though. You can kind of force this situation. You can make them incredibly uncomfortable. And if Bialy keeps selling that maybe there's pressure at B, maybe we're doing it, they can't rotate off. They can make it hard work. So Bialy just showing presence by drop. That's all he has to do.
Even with some flashes being expended in towards drop room, is going to keep Fnatic honest for the moment. And VP may opt to actually make the switch back towards B. A couple players en route.
And they can do this. They can afford the time. They've got so many Molotovs. They can clear out corners quite late in the day. So I don't think they're under pressure just yet. They need to get that explosive hit towards the site, though.
And they will be gearing up for that in a moment. Plenty of utility to accompany them in towards this B side, if that is obviously going to be the ultimate goal. Snack's going to come through as well.
Beautiful. Look at the fake they're selling. They pulled Dennis over. They pulled Fnatic away from being dedicated towards B. Even Lekro's sitting outside of drop, so can't instantly help Olaf. He's going to have to come around. He's pulling himself in because now here comes their utility, but Olaf Meister can stop it before it starts.
Just one player on the side, but he goes down there as well to clear B side. 3 smokes are going to screen Lekro off from the rest of Virtus Pro pushing in. Sure, we did see Neo go down to A, but that's not where the action's happening right now. The bomb's put down and Lekro can only take pot shots through the smoke. Hope to get something. He's literally taking shots in the dark there and finds absolutely nothing. The smoke clears and Twist makes his way towards that one. At least gets the one on towards Pasha, who tries to throw a grenade, and Wenton helps out with the cleanup on Taz now, a 2v2. Bialy's very low here, and Snacks is going to fall. 4 HP is all that stands between VP and Lost in this round.
Yeah, this retake is brilliant already, but it's not going to be good enough from Bialy there, who only found 1 in the end. So the diffuse is going to come out, but what a retake. That didn't look possible at that point. Yep. I didn't get to see what sort of peaks VP were taking, but their side take was so good. It's surprising they lost out in that. The orb's been recovered as well, so that's a lovely addition towards Fnatic, because their money was so low at this point. And of course, VP's isn't phenomenal either. They can share out the wealth, or they can kind of spread it around and try and get a decent buy-in, but that retake, I haven't seen one coming off that well in a while.
I think, yeah, I mean, Pasha got caught with a grenade in his hand there. Unfortunate timing for him. The smoke cleared. Fnatic were patient. They made their way forward. And as I said, I didn't see many of the peaks over towards that B platform. That's what I was probably interested in seeing. But we can only conjecture, Lauren, at this stage.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to flame rush anymore. I got told off, so...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What, not even about his poor choice of headwear?
No, the bullying seminars really set me straight, so...
Wow, I had my score esports seminar as well. How to separate. But now Alex is back, so it's a bit of a waste,
good,
really.
yeah,
I'll get a chance to work it in at some point. But Wenton just now sees the flash coming through. That was from a teammate, so... They're just going to try and set up over on towards this A, B. Twist sitting well back on towards the side. VP, once they get onto a site, they don't really stop. So Wenton really has to throw them off here, and he's doing it pretty well. A bit of a mixed bag of buys coming in for Virtus Pro. Only getting the Wenton so far. Even Taz flashed out, now having to back around the corner. The armored car providing some protection. And Dennis now is going to get on towards the site. Try to stymie this push from the source, and it's going to work out well. The second spray down with the Famous is going to work as Taz's head goes rolling, and it's just Snacks left on his own. He's well out of position, and he's well dead.
He's well dead, mate.
He's well dead, mate.
Like, the point, in my eyes at least, is Virtus Pro have got some really nice I say really nice, well-constructed rounds to take these sites. They've been, getting the bomb down on B. They've been doing that beautiful site. They've been selling a bit of a fake. In this round, a nice A hit, quite quick. Lost a little bit too much, I feel, throughout that. Wenton was able to get away with maybe a bit more than he should have. But still, this is Virtus.pro getting to the sites and then losing out. Dennis hitting that, not ridiculous, but picking up those 2 kills there just kind of thwarted everything. So again, though, Virtus.pro seem to have like a really nice mentality, but just not closing out the rounds now at this point. But now swings and roundabouts, here we go. VP's money goes back down, and we're going to see Fnatic on a really nice buy here. So Mag 7 still with Electro, not too bad, not too surprising. You can play it any way you want, really. Retakes become an issue, but at this point, not going to be a problem, as all facing up on A long, and Twist going to back away, drop out the nade, and fall back to side.
Yeah, I mean, tried to set himself up in a peak position where he could back away fairly quickly and getting the kill, and his life pretty darn good. A heck of a lot of information as well, which is just gold bullion for CTs as they try and figure out what their opponents are doing. Pasha in mid goes down. Bialy goes for a peek. He was already very low. There wasn't much to be gained there. And now Taz with a deagle on 70 HP. The bomb is dropped in the middle of the map, and he goes for the challenge. Wenton will put him out of his misery here. And with Virtus.pro not building up much of a bank earlier on, now things get a little bit funky for them.
All right, 3-3. And I kind of feel in Virtus.pro's predicament, right? And this is something I'd love to get an answer from like Chad or Henry is, if you're Virtus.pro and you're getting to the sites, you're getting occasional bomb plants, you're getting to this sort of situation, then you're losing out on the retakes, you're losing out on these kind of maybe slightly more questionable situations. How much do you change? Do you go, well, we've got to change something up, or do you just keep trying to work it out?
Was it just we messed our execution up?
Exactly. It's a really it's an interesting point. But now Olofmeister's going for that early peak, so lucky for him, he's there very quickly. Virtus.pro haven't gone towards drop at all. They're not doing the counter boost at the back of it. So he can sit here for free for quite some time. It's not a one and done. You can back off from it. He may screw Lecro over, but no Molotovs being able to be purchased from Virtus.pro. So Dennis's position is also very, very good here. This could be deadly if the flash comes in. If he gets a set play coming out from this, and he's held this nerve. He's just going to hold down that trigger, and here it goes. There's 2 back-to-back spots. Out the third. Controls it beautifully. Dennis with a masterclass there, leaving Virtus.pro with just 2.
And Snack's now having to come forward. Olofmeister's going to take him down with the AWP, and Neo's on his own here. Virtus.pro getting absolutely wrecked in that position. In fact, that's what Zero did to Fnatic on multiple occasions in the Hellraisers game. So, well, it's not exactly like they stole it from them. It's pretty obvious. This 2016 should be expecting that to a degree. But Virtus.pro were like 5-man flash pushing on towards B long. So they were feeling like there was a sense of urgency. And they didn't really have a moment to try and check all their corners. That's what you want to do as a CT side. Put the pressure on the Ts as they push. You take the momentum into your hands, and you start to stress your opponents. And
I like this delay hit from Neo, just going to basically hit the brakes, so then you cause Fnatic consider that he may be rotating. You may get a one-to-one, you might get a 1v1 fight. He does, but it wasn't favourable to him in the end. Twist was expecting it, sat back patiently, and Fnatic closed out another. And they've stabilised here. Look at that money starting to build up. 5k sitting on a couple, you've got 2 players there, 3, excuse me, even Twist up on it as well.
Dennis is looking really good right now. I mean, from this position, it's pretty easy to farm some kills. But again, VP just had to kind of move. I mean, time was of the essence for them. There's no doubt about it. They were flashed quite heavily. So the cat was out of the bag, essentially, with Olof's peak up there. And I think it was a flash thrown in towards B long that caught so many players. So then you're starting to sweat bullets.
Yeah, this looks like just a quick hit towards B, trying to get a bomb plant. Upgraded pistols, a little bit of armor here or there. Olofmeister going to be the one AWPing from Chicken Coop. Got to be careful. Could have been pressured out here, but not going to be the case. The Molly's going to be doing the work for him. He actually misses a bit of a sitter there for Olof, at least, let's be honest. And Virtus.pro not yet to get the bomb down. That is the main intention now.
Yeah, just having trouble settling on the site there. They're going to be cut down. Fnatic don't want to give them the extra money. Even Pasha has to go for a challenge out there to try and find an opportunity. Yeah, Olofmeister missed the shot. It doesn't matter because the VP were down to 3 to 1 nade and 1 Molotov already. So they were in struggle town. Now buying up again. Snacks. We see the AWP come out from him. We will here. So at least that's going to be available here for the T side. See what he can do with it here. Olaf obviously playing from Chicken Coop in that last round with his AWP.
Yeah, this is another discussion coming up with Fnatic. They have so many possible AWPers as well. Do they vary it on spawn, confidence, how they feel? Double stack on long from the CT side, though, so Twist and Wenton this time pushing up, Olaf holding middle. So a little bit of tendency towards A. Maybe they're starting to read Virtus.pro. Maybe this is something that they've considered once we're on that buy and we know they're on a buy with the AWPs and such. A seems to be a viable site. And now basically Wenton's trying to play and Twist it, and it works out really so well. What a lovely 1-2 punch there, pretty much. Playing each other in. The problem is now danger. They're pouring up from the staircase, and there's Neo. He's going to pincer them in. Yeah, they don't push on that there as well. It's going to give Twist a little bit of time just to settle and maybe even get some backup from Olofmeister. They could have pressured that a little bit further, maybe pinched on Twist, but they didn't know who else was going to be sat long A, and that is Olof now. VP used his confusion to sneak Neo in towards Connector.
and he may even just end up floating over towards B. He's going to catch up Lekro, but doesn't take the shot. He knows he could have accompanied him over on this site. But now with 2 players, VP need to make these next few moments work in their favour.
It's all Dennis. It has to be Dennis here. And timing comes down to be everything. Snax is going to take the route through drop. It's the safest they can assume. They know that Dennis is probably on this site somewhere, but where? They have 46 seconds, so time of plenty for this. And they spot him out quickly. Snax finds him, and now the site is theirs. It's all open for them. Plant wherever you want. They don't know this just yet, but they will find out soon. So they get a nice little plant down, and now they should be able to take good after plant situations. But the individual power coming back in from Fnatic has already shown that it can truly bite here.
I mean, Olofmeister playing with the AWP, VP with no smokes at all, but Twist going to come in from that B platform, or at least out towards that way. Gets on towards Neo easily enough, and now Snax has to make a big decision in terms of where he's going to be sitting. It's not just Twist that is the threat here. Olofmeister is lurking close by. He swapped his AWP for an AK here, just for this sort of situation when he doesn't win out. Snax comes out there completely untouched, and this is huge for Virtus.pro. They need this to win out the round. The flash is going to come in from Twist, and now the Angel being taken, but Twist just a little bit sharper than Snax there. He's going to be able to get himself the defuse here as well. Nicely done. Virtus.pro could have brute forced on towards A. I like the fact that they made Neo just push on through connector. But still was Twist in the 1v1. It went down to that one, and again, Fnatic win out. The money is flowing.
Did Twist even touch the bomb then? I'm not sure if he did. I don't know if maybe...
I think he flashed. I don't think he tried to fake it even.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I couldn't hear too clearly, so I'd like to watch that back at some point. Just to be curious why he took that fight then. I don't know if he thought he had less time than he did, and he could have just played the timer of the bomb. But still, back into this one again. Virtus.pro get the plants, they get the site, and then they lose the retakes. This seems to be a common trend at the moment. Fnatic's individual power certainly is showing here, with even those newer members having that big impact. But let's see what Virtus.pro come up with this time. Still a nice buy, of course. They're still fine to buy into this one. They've got the mollies. They have all that utility to build these rounds as they please. And a bit of a different start here from Fnatic. That 3-play over towards A has been removed. That's not there anymore. That's not the worry. And it's Dennis AWPing this time, so you can expect it by Chicken Coop, as that's where he loves to play at this point. And there he is. So no surprises here. And he's so good at being almost a solo player on the side. As long as you get someone by drop, you can kind of float someone over, like Olofmeister. So they're starting to read this. They're starting to get that feeling of what Virtus.pro are up to.
Yeah, Bialy clearly hasn't rattled the cage enough over a B if a Fnatic player is going to sneak through. Twist didn't get a whole lot of information at A long here, so good intuition from Fnatic to use Olofmeister as a pivot and respond by bringing him towards the A site. Now, under a minute left in the round, a move needs to be made pretty darn soon by VP, and you can see Bialy hoping to continue to attract some attention. Now, Olofmeister actually swings back in the direction of B. This might be the opening that Virtus.pro are looking for. They've got some utility to work with, and now the Executor's going to come down. Wherever it looks like, it might not be pretty, but it's going to facilitate their progress towards this site. Wenton just spots ahead there, but he's been challenged by Taz towards the right. Still, he holds his nerve. At least able to trade things out there, but Snax comes in, and VP are starting to build up ahead of steam.
I'm surprised he got as much as he did there. That's a really awkward position, but again, Virtus.pro will get the site and then probably lose the retake. Let's see if it holds true to trend. This point, the bomb goes down. Now, Twist in a really lovely spot right amongst them, and he spots out Snax on the side. He sees just the back, and he's going to make the most of it. Look at that pickup. Again, Twist being able to play from these positions is huge, and his Pasha in the 1v2 now. Bombs planted relatively well for him. They don't have a smoke. So Pasha Why? I don't understand why he'd peek into that. No reason. Maybe he wanted to find one of them just trying to get to the bomb site, but Twist, what a round from him.
That peek from Pasha is not even the problem. The fact that Twist gets to play from that broken wall so confidently. I understand if you peek towards that spot, you're sort of looking towards Juliet, actually, seeing if someone's up on the rafters. That's maybe the first most likely location to check for someone who's rotating from that B site, but still, getting 3 kills from there, the bomb planter, I think it was Neo or whoever it was, wasn't even ready to take that challenge as well.
I think there was a bit of confusion, maybe bad communication at that point. For him to get that many kills there was already just pushing it. And let's kind of rewind that round a little bit further. Wenton was caught in kind of no man's land. When you're not really secure from anywhere, no matter what other people are holding, really. He was kind of caught where they can push up from middle, they can push up from long. And he was I think he was just trying to fall back to site, trying to play with Twist on the site a little bit more, trying to create a crossfire. And even him getting a 1-for-1 trade on that was really, really quite impressive. That really cost them a little bit there, Virtus.pro. But again, they get into the sites, they get the bomb plant, and then they just lose out. This is so... It must be devastating for Virtus.pro, because you sit there going, well, this is just individuals. Yeah. This is our... normally, I hate to say it, but this is a technical pause, by the way, so just so you guys know, we aren't just waffling needlessly. I'm sure you can read. But the point being, for me, if you have the strategic side of CS, this is a very, very cookie cutter way of saying it. It's not... It doesn't apply to... it doesn't apply to everyone, but we'll just go for this for now. I think if you get the sites, if you get the bomb down, that's necessarily a nice tactic. Your tactics work there. But then if you can't hold the retakes, if you can't play this sort of style, you kind of lose out on maybe that communication side, that team play side, that individual element. That's where I feel that takes over. The after-plant situations take people knowing, where are you holding? What do I need to hold to complement your position? Where are they coming from? What utility do we have? What do they have? Making all these assumptions very, very quickly on the fly, of course. So First Pro, pretty very frustrating for them because the tactic book is clearly working to a degree. It may not be to the best, but it's working out enough so. But Fnatic still pulling off these retakes. It's credit to their individuals like Twist. And I can't say it enough. It's great seeing Twist being a headliner here.
Having a good couple of rounds, at least he and Dennis definitely headlining. And you're right, for Virtus Pro, when it comes down to those after-plant situations, it's not a set-up problem. It's not like, yo, Philip, Victor, throw those nades properly, boys. Like you're missing. It's not like that. It's like, well, okay. It's easy to diagnose when it comes down to the team play or the individual side, but it's actually really hard to maybe fix, especially on the fly. Yeah. So eventually it's like, come on, boys, we need to do better. Come on, boys, we need to focus more. Instead of like, yeah, I need to throw this smoke 3 pixels to the right or flash a little bit earlier. So VP need to make it happen here. They
are getting the favorable plays towards the side itself. They're pulling Fnatic plays left, right, and center. Bialy's been selling some really nice fakes in drop. They're doing okay. It's just not quite good enough. So 7-3 already is looking very nice for Fnatic though. Considering they had some issues on Cbble, I would say that we haven't seen them on their T side yet. So of course that's still up in the air. So that could change everything here. But again, let's see how it goes into this one. Virtus Pro again going to try and pressure this A side. I'm not sure if they're going to commit. They have pulled themselves over towards B before, but at the moment, they're getting good ground here. No one from Fnatic's really playing up close or long. Pasha's going to use this as the go signal. He knows they won't be checking long because the molly's gone down. So now he's going to make the most of it. He finds one with Taz, but Wenton is the thorn in their side. Already finding 2. Neo and Bialy go down. They've lost out on one prong of the attack. Snax is trying to pull it back, but it's in this 3v3 now. Yeah,
very, very low. He's going to get cut down there. Lekro just had to breathe in his general direction, and Snax was going to fall. Pasha might get a boost up here as well. Might be an unexpected challenge position for Dennis, but he's ready for it. The AWP rings out and Pasha goes down. Taz at least gets the trade, but now the Molotov will burn him down. And that will be another round for Fnatic. Yet again, access is gained to the A side. Eventually for VP, but they fall apart after the fact there. I like the quick smoke to quench the Molotov by Pasha and pushing forward. You can see that, I think it was Twist, had absolutely no time to respond to that. However, they lose too many players trying to push up initially there. It was Wenton that caught them out.
Yeah, 4 out of the 8, let's say, buy rounds for Fnatic, once the gun round came in, have been diffusers. So it means that they've been 4 of these 8 rounds that sit in Fnatic's favor have been these retakes that have successfully come through. So this is clearly a problem, of course. But VP, round loss bonus and all that jazz kicking in. So they're going to be able to get at least a buy coming into it, and they're going to look to switch something up here. They're not going back in for that kind of pocket A hit that they've been depending on. And Dennis almost got everything he'd want then. Gonna molly it out and fall back, try to buy a bit of time, but he sees what's happening now. So everyone's gonna just, batten down the hatches and get ready for Virtus Pro to make the hit.
Yep, so much information gain. The VP can't really change their tact right now. They're gonna need to keep going forward with this. Lekro gonna catch one around the corner. Neo gets sent into next Tuesday with that shot. Oh, it's all about Lekro getting himself a quick double, but now Taz gonna try and come through. Is traded out by Olaf, and now it's a 2-man VP squad trying to do-si-do their way up on towards this B side. Another uncharacteristic miss from an AWP player here, this time Dennis, but still, VP know that they are endangered species. They know their time is short. They're trying to play a ring around the rosy, but it's not gonna work out. Fnatic have done this dance a couple too many times before, and 9-3 comes up as a scoreline. VP are in struggle town.
Yeah, this is really not good. Because at the start of it, I was considering this to be a close game, but then obviously once those buys have come out, Fnatic have really started to pick up. I would say if you're starting to think this is going to be one of those quote-unquote boring matches, look at the Hellraisers result. Look at what they had on the half there. This could still happen. Don't think it's out of the woods yet. Fnatic have been able to play the CT side fine. It was their T side that became the problem later on because they didn't have the depth. They didn't seem to be able to adapt too much. And Lekro, again, going to be challenged out. Tags up 2. Can't get the kills just yet. And going to have to be a little bit more respectful towards this, back away a bit. They've just trapped them in between A and B pretty much in the connector area. And they've gone, all right, well, if you want to come back or go towards a bomb site, you have to come through the smokes and we'll be waiting.
Yeah, I mean, both routes are cut off by smokes here, and Bialy having to back away. Can't actually access that side there by normal measures. Neo at least gets himself one, gets himself a mag 7 as well, but again, threatened by Dennis from the backside and will fall here. And to be fair, we talked about Fnatic. We said at the time this map probably wasn't in super much in their pool, I guess, when they played it against Hellraisers. But bear in mind, these guys have only played online CS since E-League. The old Fnatic team were there. So, it's pretty reasonable to expect that they've been able to actually work on this. While VP, I mean, they're at Kiev. They're going to be in Bucharest this weekend as well. So maybe not as much time to just plug the holes there in the ship.
Well, VP's stability on maps is just a whole unique topic unto itself. It's you never know what VP you're going to...
So 2 shocking Mirage maps in Kiev.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to predict what you're going to find with them. So I think that VP are a completely separate entity to what Fnatic are into at the moment. But Dennis is getting confident here. And it worked out almost before. No one's really actively challenging this. Snax hasn't been playing this sort of angle. It's Bialy and Taz. If anyone will peek into it, but they've got a good read on this. I don't know if it's going to reach Bialy. It is. He's going to have to swing out, and actually Olaf Meister lets him get away with his life. I don't think he wanted to, but Dennis will pick up.
It's just the suspension of disbelief. It's like a Saw movie, Laura, and you make them think like they've just escaped, or any horror movie, and then they get brutally murdered right after that. That little light of hope shines in their eyes, and then it's snuffed out, but Snax actually manages to do just that, to twist just the top of his noggin, peeks over the top, and he manages to find it. Not bad for VP. Doesn't really tell him much about the infrastructure that Fnatic has, I guess, erected over on this site. Doesn't let them get any closer, and also gives his position away. So while it does thin numbers out, VP still need to make the long climb towards A.
Well, he's going in. Smoke's down. Last time, Twist had the field day. Not this time, he's already down. And now Wenton's gone. It's down to Olaf Meister. Swept aside. Neo takes the reins. And the experience just comes through. Now, Lekro, the retake issue, now comes in with the Mag 7. Perfectly fine for holding drop. Not so ideal to play to these retakes. But he does have Dennis with him. And if Dennis can get something here, it might become a little more possible. Now, not so much so.
He at the very least knows where Snax is, but Dennis has 3 other players to try and keep tabs on in some way or another. Taz trying to challenge it down with the CZ. Okay, then.
Dennis with a pistol of any variety, let's be honest here. I think Snax has seen who he has, so this is now almost impossible considering their positions. He shouldn't be able to do this, but there we go. Finally, it's kept in check, Mitch. I got worried there when the pistol started to come out. I'm like, oh no, not again. And finally, Virtus.pro get around on the board. Finally, after the first 3, 10 back-to-back for Fnatic, and then breaking it and getting their 4th.
It's a really big indicator of a team's struggles then when you're not winning anything after that first gun round. So, yep. Well, Fnatic obviously have a little bit of money to work with still here, so there's really no concern. Obviously, the last round of the half, so no one cares. Let's see what they can do, though. Getting 11-4 would be looking good for them right now. But again, VP brought something a little bit different that round, a little bit more high octane, let's just say, and the execution was better. That was probably the big point.
Also a little bit more Neo. You know what I mean? This guy just kind of broke, finally, what was working for them on A. So there's always that depth with these guys, let's be honest. Virtus.pro certainly have the players there. It's just whether or not they show up in the individual rounds. But they've actually snuck quite far forward on towards platform. Not been challenged out. Dennis playing by Coop this time. Olaf and Lekro going to be watching predominantly the cross, actually. Lekro's very much focused on helping him out in this one. And Dennis just going to be watching the platform. So kind of very, very certain that no one's going to drop. Lekro is very much in support here. Good flash comes through. And Virtus.pro having to kind of, sit back a little further, but Neo's gaining ground. So again, don't read into it just yet. This is a hit. They've got 2 mollies of smokes. The nades, they have enough to play with here where they can still try and flip the switch quite late on. So it looks like they're going to trickle back towards A.
Not too much utility expended for the Polish side thus far. Although they did have to dig into their pockets for a bit to at least imply that they may make the hit towards B. Now, Lekro has time to rotate here. Fnatic have cottoned onto this one fairly quickly.
And Twist is the AWP. This could be a big difference maker. There it is. Already spots out the plan. You see Snax, you pretty much see everything. Now Neo's going to be coming up on long. That's different. That means that Wenton's pressured. It's actually Taz to find him from middle. And now Twist isn't safe from anywhere. He's got support coming in. Lekro's to his right. But can he hold on?
Well, he's going to have to here at this stage. He's using his favourite little spot we saw earlier on from the broken wall. But this time, Virtus.pro, they seem to have learned you can teach an old dog new tricks. Apparently, as Pasha comes around the side, headshot towards Dennis, and it's going to be Olaf Meister now. Nothing he can do to stop VP from at least putting 5 on the board. A little bit of a back and forth T-side there for VP. No, actually, no, it wasn't. It was very back and then a little bit forth towards the end. But I mean, we can't really tell if they even solved their issues, to be fair. It's just a nice couple rounds to finish off, but it's a huge amount to be behind.
It really is. Considering they had the pistol to really supplement this score, if you remove that, a bit of a different picture. Picking up only 2 real gun rounds is not particularly good here. But then again, Fnatic did not look good on their T side before against Hellraisers. I'm going to keep that in mind and just see what we come into on the second half.
Yeah, that's one to check out. So we're going to be rejoining you after the break. Don't go too far. Back with the second half of Cbble between Fnatic and VP real shortly. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our first map of the week. It's Virtus Pro versus Fnatic on Cobblestone. And a bit of an awkward start to this one here for VP, not winning anything after the gun around, finally squeezing in a couple rounds towards the end of the half, not convincing by any stretch.
No, and the way they were losing the rounds was pretty devastating, I think. If any of you play CS, watch CS, a big fan of it, you'll understand probably how frustrating that was for them, getting those bomb plants, getting into the sites, and then losing on these retakes, or, you know, Dennis having big moments, you're lurking away by platform. Several really frustrating ways to actually lose out on these. So again, for them, time to reset. Virtus Pro, no strangers going into, you know, second halves with a deficit. So, yeah, they should be fine. They're a veteran side. They can mentally kind of unwind from that and then come back in and know what they need to do.
And to be fair, this is sort of an error and a weakness we pinpointed on the side of Fnatic in recent times on this very map. It was Hellraiser's players like Sticko and Zero who were able to completely shut down Fnatic on their T side not just a week ago. It was a very interesting game to see, which Hellraisers actually won out in overtime. So Fnatic do just need to make sure they have all their boxes checked, Lauren, and their corners as well. Not a bad idea to also take care of that.
No, this is interesting. Lekro going for the molly and the smoke. I'm wondering where that molly goes to at this point. We'll see. Heading straight over towards B with it, however, with he's got Olofmeister in check, and it looks like it's all but a fake. So yeah, literally smoke, molly, back away. Leave Olofmeister just to play through it. Showing steps at long. This is very, very curious. This is Fnatic trying to sell fakes throughout the map, keeping Virtus Pro guessing, but they've just not rotated. Virtus Pro have just gone, well, we don't know where they are, so we'll just sit here and chill.
Well, Twist and Winton don't know where they're going either. Or I don't think they've really decided. They backed away from A-long now, and now they're going to go through middle.
Yeah, Pasha needs to win this, or just hit the shot. There we go.
There it is.
So he finds Olofmeister, which forces Fnatic to make a move elsewhere, pretty much. And they'd already had that in mind. They were looking towards A at this point as Neo and Taz sitting towards the side itself, and Taz just below the balcony. Going to be trying to find one on the cross, or at least the push, and it's Winton to fall foul to it as Taz will fall back, reloads. Got Neo there with him, but Neo gets caught. Bialy comes into the matter. It's a 2v1, favorable to Virtus Pro at this point, and Twist left in the 1v2. And he's no Dennis, but he can certainly do some damage here. Bomb just out of reach, though. Going to be tough for him to try and pick that one up and make a clean cross, as both these players can kind of just like play around this sort of position, and these shots are taking a while to hit, let's be real here.
Some awkward encounters so far this round, I think, with the pistol. So that takes Twist very low.
Shot Twist.
He eventually falls down. So this is actually VP winning both pistols on this map. Now, it's not really crucial in a situation where Fnatic bounced back so well after the first gun round, but it's not great, you know. They're fortunate to have been able to put such a big buffer between them and VP previously, but this is where VP strike back. This is where they actually can equalize the score after Fnatic put in such an excellent effort on that first half. So you'd be kicking yourself if you're Fnatic in this situation.
Yeah, you've got to feel for them. Again, Fnatic have been grinding out the quote-unquote harder rounds as such, you know, with the gun rounds. But then you look at the score, it's 6-10. It's not even that bad. And Virtus Pro, in theory, should be able to convert this. Fnatic, however, are a little notorious for doing some damage in these sort of rounds. And Fasher with a good position, kind of giving away a little bit with that nade. And Olofmeister knows that. Yep. Once you see that trickle into it, you're like, well, I kind of know where you are.
You dare scuff my shoes, Fasher?
But there are people holding the cross, and Fnatic going to try and add the pressure through drop. So a bit of a 3-2 split here. Pasha going to be holding on towards Olofmeister and Dennis. But on the other side of things, it's Virtus Pro shutting down the door from drop, and it's been well held until Wenton. John Lekro did break back in.
Yeah, reasonable flash there on towards Neo, who wasn't able to get anything in that situation. But again, VP just can hold fairly strong now. Obviously, Taz, we know what a devil he can be, I guess, from the connector window.
Tasmanian devil.
I did that.
Wow.
I went and did that.
So proud of you.
Again, but that's what I'm saying. VP can get within one round of Fnatic before the first gun round even comes up at this stage, especially with Fnatic aren't planting any bombs. So not great for the Swedes. They had such a big lead, but now they need to focus on trying to break back after that first gun, or maybe even just throw a spanner in the works here. It's possible, but VP are canny. They are hard to sneak by. Fnatic are crouch walking. They're trying. Over towards drop.
Yeah, with just a Tech 9 here? I don't know. I've seen it all. It's all been spotted out. And oh gosh, Taz just got dinked as well. This has gone from a really easy round to not so easy, and Taz is in a really bad spot here, and Lekro's going to punish him for it. They have just Glocks. That's it, and a couple of P250s. Not much more. This shouldn't be getting as costly as it is. Now, Snacks, you've got to keep this one in check. Don't lose out. You've got Dennis down, gets out the knife, goes in front, he whips it, he goes back again. This round was just ridiculous from start to finish, but Snacks will find 3, get the defuse, and he gets some lovely additional cash as well for the knife.
Good response by Snacks. Is that horror moment when you realise your MP9 is completely out of bullets and you can see the enemy and they can also see you. So why not go for a bit of a slice and dice? Still a bit risky, yeah.
Oh, obviously, last bullet on Dennis as well there.
Yeah, so he could even have missed out on that one as well if things hadn't gone better. So
Olofmeister just turned around, so he didn't get the kind of like one, I guess, the more damage-dealing lunge towards the back. That's unfortunate. But it does mean he gets an early AWP. That's a big benefit.
Absolutely. And now, of course, we go into the buy. So Fnatic now have some guns to work with. This is where we can see a little bit more than them just posturing over the map and trying to sow confusion in Descent. Now we can actually see them try and punch in with a bit of firepower to back up their thought processes, at least, or their movements early in the rounds.
Yeah, because before Fnatic were very much locked to just those very standard B hits, you know, the wall of smokes, making the hit off the back of it. Snax is Molly's found Winton. Where and how?
Oh, dear.
Pardon?
Not sure.
No, I'm not sure on that one. There's no one pressuring long, so I don't know what happened there or how that went down, but...
Unless he flashed as well.
Yeah, a big loss to begin with there, if I'm completely honest. Losing on a player very early on with no information off the back of it as well, that's the worst situation you can get.
Yeah, don't really know how that works out. I mean, it's possible when you get flash, you don't know you're burning, obviously, but I don't think it's possible to offload both grenades and hit them quick enough for someone to not notice. But look, let's not read into it too much. It's not good for Fnatic here, though. That's the take-home message, Lauren. It's only Snax over at A for the moment, so that is the positive factor. Virtus Pro confident enough after whittling numbers down for Fnatic over at A long that they could just leave this man in charge. But is he Charles in charge? Not sure. He missed that first shot. Now moving up towards Wooden. Taz is going to make the rotation in here, so
this
Snax
is big.
Oh, the shoulder peek was absolutely on point by Lekro there as well. Finishes off that kill and he comes in and gets another one. So Fnatic, in defiance, after that weird start to the round, now got to come back into it.
Yeah, and Snax was so confident then to charge forward after that initial kind of like, okay, I've seen you middle. All right, I'm going to push up long. Like, that's just insane. But now Fnatic showing them how it's done. We lose out on the man starting off with, and then we'll go and make it work towards A. That 4-play stack obviously didn't help Virtus Pro towards B, but still, Pasha left just to spray in towards Dennis, and Olofmeister might be chasing this one out as well. I'm looking at Virtus Pro's money here. I don't think it's particularly great, so taking these guns away would be pretty useful at this point, and the same can be said for Fnatic. Like, they want to keep hold of their guns too.
Well, you can see that the klaxoning of the alarm, or at least the beeping, means that Pasha pretty much has no time anyway. So he goes for a peek, tries to find something, and Lekro is going to cut him to the quick. So Fnatic break back in there. They do lose that first pistol, which is just annoying. Like, they could be pretty much on match point by this stage if they'd actually won the pistol. That's probably why they're thinking a little bit frustratedly about it, but that's the way the game goes here. They buy back in, there's pistol rounds. There's a heck of a lot of riding on a round where you run around with, when you run around with the handhelds, but it's the way it is.
And we've got the double AWP now for Virtus Pro, and it's a really weird buy. Taz has only a CZ, and then you've got the double AWP with Neo and Snax, and then the Max 7 with Pasha. Pasha, not too much of a surprise. He often plays with that by, you know, the broken wall, by the platform, pretty much just sits himself there. Very, very diligent with it. However, no information gathered on long. They haven't actually seen them crossing up here, and this is a nightmare for players like Snax. If they lose presence on long, someone can be very pushed up, watch their escape route. Snax keeps it in mind. He's starting to get a little bit worried about it after he hears the flash. Now he sees the steps, he has to run away. Needs to back out of this one. Gets the info though, that's another thing. You know, it's risky to get any info on this map, but he can fall back to sight now.
Yeah, credit to Snax. He reacted very quickly to the sounds of the flashes over towards the upper side of danger. So we've seen lots of AWPers just completely get caught with their pants down there. He, a little bit paranoid, actually paying out for him in that case. Neo does just see Olofmeister then. He was trying to hug the wall and creep as close as he possibly could, give himself better odds and maybe catch his opponent by surprise. But the double AWP setup of Virtus Pro is going to enable them to keep Fnatic at arm's length. And that's what Cobblestone is all about, as you know. So 50 seconds left in the round. Twist bring the bomb back over towards middle here. So it might be an A hit, a delayed one, a belated A hit for Fnatic. And they're not going to have too many options after the fact.
Yeah, they just need to play off the contact of Taz or Snax pretty much here. So Snax finds one towards middle. Now Taz knows he has to get into the action, try and catch him off guard, and he does do very well with just the CZ, considering. Now Lekro's got presence on long. Still going to be able to keep this one going here, but Snax is feeling a little bit pressured, and rightly so. Pasha round the back with the Max 7, does what he needs to, and keeps going. It's the little Max 7 that could at this point, and Snax will close it down with the USPS towards Lekro, but that got dangerous, and it was held on by a bit of a thin wire then.
Fnatic took a while to decide really how they wanted to go about that one. Losing Olofmeister so early in the round, pushing on towards B long again, kind of cuts your options quite slim. They'd rather not be offering up cheap kills at the start of rounds here. They'd rather keep their options open for as much of the round as possible, if not to just keep Virtus Pro guessing as to where they're going to go here. But that's by the by. Heading into round 6 of the second half is Fnatic with a 2-round lead, but not a lot of guns to work with here. Twister's got himself an AK, a Galil for Dennis, and Tech9's for the rest of the team. How will Pasha navigate this situation? A grenade could be quite nasty here. Just around the corner, just tickle the knees. We'll take an appreciable amount of damage or health off these Fnatic players. A Molotov to follow up there. It's going to force Olof back there.
Look at the damage done towards Fnatic already.
Yeah.
Olaf 66, 65 towards Twist, Dennis 67. You've got to hope that sort of thing makes a difference here.
Well, it requires no real investment except for the utility itself from VP, so it's a pretty darn worthwhile. Now Neo getting challenged down the statue there as well. A lot of Fnatic are already there. They just mobbed this site, and this is a perfect setup for them now. Smoker's going to block Snacks off. He has to charge forward here. Hell for leather play from Snacks. He finds one kill as Dennis to go down through the smoke, but Wenton awaits him on the other side of the statue. And Snacks doesn't know where the rest of Fnatic are going to be. Misses a crucial shot there as well. Would have loved to pick that one up. The second one goes down. The pressure just gets to the veteran player, and he's not able to carry it any further.
Twist again. This guy's been instrumental at providing really important kills throughout that round. Beautiful to watch as well. I think he's playing well throughout this game. If we just hit the tab, see where he's doing. Yeah, really good game. Him and Dennis certainly really bolstering the numbers there, but beautiful to watch in impactful kills, not just, you know, that kind of eco farming, let's say. Really, really nice.
Kills or anything like that. Yeah.
No, really enjoyable to watch. So good to see him back at that pinnacle, and he's actually picked up the open run with it now. So this is something unique to what Fnatic has, that most of their players have some sort of viability towards AWPing here. So if he can find a little bit of form, not the best of starts, but keeps in check, has to be quite calm here because, you know, Virtus Pro do only have pistols. It's, you know, it can be a bit of a nightmare with an AWP if you're being charged down, so it's just got to be quite careful. And so far, doing okay. Missing a couple of shots he probably should be hitting at this point.
Very fine angles there is what Twist is going for. So VP obviously just want to jump up there and get information. VP play Italy on the CT side with 2 players up on that B platform, play them in tandem. We saw them do that much earlier on. We saw them do that against Godsend actually in the wildcard game that worked really well, but we haven't really seen that come out. It's been a lot of the hits for Fnatic over towards the A side. So VP haven't been able to demonstrate too much on this platform itself. Bialy will be the man to receive. Probably won't have the nice China set out for Fnatic at this stage, though, as he wants to just try and cut them down back around the corner. Mostly flash. You're not going to win out against a rifle in that situation. 9.9 times out of 10, and now Neo as well, trying to just inflict some damage. He's out in the open, and Taz, well, there's no reason for him to not try and go for something to make this slightly more costly, as he only has a USP in hand, no armor, no nothing.
Yeah, and for Fnatic, they've kept this really clean, and that's incredibly important. They've kept a fair bit of utility back. They've not lost out on a single player. And this is the sort of stuff you want to see from Fnatic, is getting that real nice stability that made them such a beast. You know, very rarely falling to kind of anti-eco situations, any of these sort of things. You know, Fnatic classically were very good at handling it and also forcing the issue themselves on it, but showing a little bit of that resilience here. But now Virtus Pro's buy is very, very weak. It's lackluster. Look at the limited amounts they have to work with. 0 nades, 0 mollies, 1 kit on Pasha, 2 mag 7s. This is a cobbled together buy if I've ever seen one. And they're going to try and make it work as best they can. Bialy can be a difference maker, as can Pasha and Neo here. Both teams about to clash any second now. And Elfmeister just been waiting ever so patiently, and here comes the hit. It's down to these two, and Pasha gets off to a good start.
Not too bad, but Fnatic trade and then some, as Bialy still waiting for someone to appear and drop room, realizing that most of Fnatic have actually already snaked their way around this B side. Now with the Molotov tickling at his toes, Bialy has to move forward, but he moves straight into the crosshairs of Twist. Snacks will try and make his way through halls where Olaf lies in wait, and it's an easy pickup for him. And Taz, again, forced to rotate from A. This time, absolutely no point in going for it here. He needs to just sit on this gun. Virtus Pro are sinking into a hole. As Fnatic actually starting to find some sense of rhythm. Their B hits now looking a lot better when they can flood onto that site properly. It seems that they are overwhelming the grizzled veterans of VP very easily.
But you looked at what... So while I discuss this, just make sure, let's see if Taz can keep on this gun. He's being hunted down by Olafmeister, but the fact is that what worked for Hellraisers was the consistent, quite aggressive pressure that was put towards the platform, whether it be Stick or whomever it was at the time, playing in their little corner, constantly getting away with murder, or, you know, playing on the edge of the stairs, always pressuring Fnatic. Well, Virtus Pro really haven't had that, and he does get to keep the rifle, which is actually quite important at this point. They have very little money here, so anything's a benefit. But yeah, this is the problem now. Fnatic's money is so good. They are pretty much set at this one. You've got 10k sitting on Wenton, 9 on Dennis. They are golden. But the point being that Virtus Pro aren't pressuring them. Fnatic have had their way on the T side. You know, Olafmeister wasn't having success playing that B platform previously. And, oh, it's nice to see this bug back. I wonder what happens next, guys. Mitch, were you casting CS when this stuff happened before?
Was this when you spawn on someone's head?
Oh, no. This is it's a way to guess how the game ends. This is actually a very, very long
TV
time.
Bug?
Oh, wow. I think it's just done. Okay, we'll find out what's going on with that. But yeah, not sure what's happening on that one. But, all right, yeah, let's be very real. Looking at the money situation, Fnatic can weather a lot of storms. They can pretty much go through anything and they'll be fine, which is the main thing here. Whether or not they win the next few, if we get to see it on GoTV, is probably just the factor of the sheer money terms alone for Virtus Pro is near on impossible. 2.4 on Neo, 3.4. You know, the most they can go for is like upgraded pistols, armor, bit of utility, or maybe a Mag 7 or 2. It's really not going to be good for the next couple of rounds, no matter what happens. The CT side is very punishing.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. You can spiral economically out of control so easily on that CT side. You know, for a multitude of reasons. One of them being you can't get any extra money from rounds, even if you lose them. You can't just go and plant a bomb or something. That's kind of not your role. Interpol would be after you on that one. So that's the issue. Whereas the T side, yeah, I mean, you know, arguably you have to attack. You have to be the one that sort of sets up, but you can get a bit of extra cash there. So that really not good to fall behind here on the CT side for VP.
Yeah, and looking at VP across the board, they've been fine. That's the thing. They haven't been excelling, though. No one's done that big performance. Everyone's just been doing okay. You know, Snacks is doing fine, 18 to 18, but you know, no one's going above and beyond here. No one's doing that big work. You look on towards Fnatic, it's like in those tricky situations, you had Twist kind of bailing them out there with those 2 kills coming in towards the site, denying Neo and a couple of others that could have turned it completely because Fnatic were very, very low on HP. Excuse me. Virtus Pro were looking a little low on HP there. So again, they've had these players who've been able to kind of go to the slightly further steps and provide it. And this is what they're lacking. They're really lacking that big hit, that big firepower. And thank you for removing the UI so I can really focus in on the chicken there, Rush. I like that. Oh, no, don't do that.
I like it out, Rush.
It's so beautifully created. You know, Valve, when they made the chickens, that is what we were all asking for, really, was the implementation of chickens. They really went all out on just, you know, developing such a good-looking animal into the game, you know?
That's true. I mean, there are many animals you could put in the game. You could put, like, you know, squirrels in the trees and stuff. Maybe some birds, like, perched on the ledges. Like, why is it always chickens?
Was it pigeons on Nuke? Or I don't know if they were pigeons or something along those lines, but basically you could stand on top of them and fly out the map.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so really, they've done well at really introducing a real plethora of kind of life forms.
Well, Rush was showing me how you could add giant chickens into the map, into the game on GoTV.
Rush,
that was quite exciting.
Right now?
No.
Why not? Why not right now?
We don't have the technology, I don't think.
For a circular reason near a wall. Because of a plant? Because of a plant.
But yeah, I mean, it would be nice to see. We've got plenty of flora here, right? That's not an issue.
Take me through the map, Rush.
We got trees.
Let's go on a lovely jaunt
We've got some
through
vines there, you know.
And by the way, guys at home, when we do find out what's going on, we will let you know. At the moment, we are pretty in the dark here, not sure what's going on with GoTV. I think there's actually an issue with the server at some point, so we're actually going to restore to this round. So again, it actually wasn't the game being over for once. Guys,
all the players dropped out as well, I believe.
Yeah.
So, all right.
But
Secret rooms.
Mitch, the bug I was talking about was basically...
I thought it just lags for a little bit, and that's when you know the game's over.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, wow, it's really gone up. That's not the case, which is good. And yeah, guys, if you are wondering, there is another stream going on at the moment. I think it's Mouse against FaZe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Mouse are winning 13-5 on Dust 2 right now against FaZe. So yeah, you tell me more about the swings and roundabouts that is professional CS:GO, Laura.
Pretty much. That's why I'm not a analysis in any way, shape, or form. Mostly because I'm stupid, but also because it makes no sense to me. Do you know the one thing I like on this map on Cobblestone? Obviously, you get the Dragon Lore. And have you seen like the child's version on Overpass at the back of the playground? There's like a crayon version.
Scrolled onto the.
Like I really want Valve, because they treat their casters really well, to give me a AWP with that on it.
You want the child's Dragon Lore in there?
Yeah, it's like, you know, rather than signatures or anything like that, I want the child's Dragon Lore with like crayon marks.
I would just be happy if they put my face on Overpass with some graffiti that says idiot or something. That'd be really good.
What?
Yeah, I don't know what this is, by the way. You can't obviously access the inside of this, but there's this random symbol inside this box. So you can't tell. But what is it? What is it, Lauren?
Spider-Man.
It's not Spider-Man.
Ant-Man.
How does he have a head coming out of his rear end?
I don't know.
It's not a spider. I don't know what it is, but...
I actually don't know what that is.
Yeah, I know, right?
Map. Yes, we know what this is.
It's probably the map designer, right?
The original map maker, though, was the guy who made Dust 2.
We don't know.
It's John Stowe. It's... wait. Dave Johnston, I'm pretty sure, made Cobble. He's the guy who made Dust 2 as well. But that's the original version, so not the CS:GO version. So that could be why.
Yeah, it could be like, I mean, it could just be the designer leaving his calling card there as well. So, conspiracy theory, guys, get searching.
Because I remember when we started doing Pro League, I was talking to Dave, who now works for another company doing other game development, does UI design now. And we were just like, I was getting like all the weird little like Easter eggs about like Dust 2 and stuff like that. And originally,
Oh, we can go rug hunting again here as well.
we're not going rug hunting, Mitch. That's a whole other time.
Oh man.
I'm not even going to start. But yeah, originally they rejected Dust because it was too ugly for CS, and Jess Cliff had to convince the other original founder of CS to actually put it in the game. So Dust 2 would have possibly never been in CS, which is now one of the most iconic maps.
Well, I wouldn't exactly say they're incredibly aesthetically pleasing. Maybe they added some more pine trees since then. You know, gave it a bit more of like a.
Yeah, they made it look far more
While we're speaking about fauna and flora, this is great. This is Rushley's house.
This is Rush's observing being represented in a map.
I didn't say it, Rushley. It's all right. Yeah, so I mean, at this stage, it's 14-6 in the Mouse Sports and FaZe game, by the way. So Mouse Sports do lead. If I see anyone say something like Kassab was a problem, I'm going to go nuts, because obviously that's not the case. But it's very interesting. They said they didn't want to talk about it too much on the desk, which is fine. I think if you have been watching anything on Twitter, anything that a lot of your prominent community contributors have been saying, I recommend you check out Coffee with Semler, or Coffee and Semler, as it were, because, you know,
Do you like Semler with your coffee in the morning?
Yeah, apparently. It's not coffee and somebody have it with him, whatever. Anyway, check that one out, because he did a piece on that, which is...
Yeah, I haven't actually watched it.
Got some interesting things to think about, I guess, in terms of, you know, maybe why it was that Kassab
You have to draw Semler
left.
now.
All right, there's coffee.
Oh, by the way, I've been developing this Pictionary game with one of my friends, and this is just brilliant to watch.
I'm pretty good at Pictionary.
You are awful. I've seen your creations.
The problem is, Lauren, is this Pictionary game you're making has really lewd things in there that we have to draw.
I don't know what you mean.
I'm telling you, it's shocking.
Oh, the earrings. It looks like Pat Butcher, if I'm honest. If any of you have watched EastEnders from about 10 years ago, just, you know, the earrings really come into that. Nice. Does he have eyes? Yeah.
Does he have earrings in both ears?
I don't know. I'm
or
not
is it
sure.
just the one?
I'm not. My Semler trivia is really lacking, if I'm honest.
Right. What's that?
I think it's part of a suit, or he's just into chokers.
That's a tie.
Nice.
But why? I just stripe.
That's
yeah.
good. I like it. Rush, this is really good, actually.
This is not too bad, because, you know, I like he's on the short sides for Semler as well. That is obviously correct.
Yeah, that's true.
But why is his tie the same colour as his shirt? Now, Semler would never do this.
He'd never
he'd have
do
a he'd have a very heavily patterned jacket with the same pattern pants.
There
it would be a one-piece
is.
suit. Thank you.
He does have the red and the black suit as well.
Can I have the red and grey and crosshatch on the jacket,
I like
please?
that one.
Looks like, you know what it looks like? You're trying to steal the crown jewels and you've been caught in the laces and you're just hung there like, if I make one more move, I'm going to set off the alarm system. That's what Semler's jacket looks like.
Yeah. A green pocket square there. Notch again, Rush. Oh, it's multicoloured.
No, to be fair, he does have quite a few nice, like, multicoloured pattern pocket squares that he wears, so...
Yeah. So far, I love the way we have a new analysis on the desk. We have, you know, we've got Sponge here, you know, ex-pro player, in-game leader. It's like, guys, let's talk about some Pictionary drawings for a while.
I'm sorry,
with two play. What's wrong with his arm? Is he a T-Rex or is that a tail?
I don't know.
He said, why is that his arm? He's got 3 arms.
What? No, he doesn't. Is that an arm? Have you? Are you dirking me, Rush?
Oh.
Okay. So
he's just got a bit of fabric there. Okay.
Well, I don't understand what that green stuff is.
I don't know.
Is that his cape?
Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Semler went towards a cape at some point. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, he'd be setting trends, though, wouldn't he? We've had the cravat. You know, we've had, like, he and Monty in the respective regions like to try and set the trends a little bit. Yeah. I like that. Appreciate it.
I love Monty. He's great.
He's a hoot. But now, what's his...
I wouldn't pass the Riot interview if I said that, but, you know.
Oh. It's the cup on fire, boys. That's what that is.
Love that. Love that. Do you know what, Rush? You've done a really good job here.
It's not bad. I don't agree with this elbow situation,
Yeah, the elbow situation went really badly. But beyond that, this is a lovely piece.
He's even framed it for us as well.
Rush, can you sign this?
Oh my. I thought, is this like in kindergarten where they tell you like to make up signatures and stuff like that?
To be fair, it looks like Alex's signature.
Oh yeah,
Machine
he's done a weird thing, like he's
appalling.
like his M and the A is like one letter.
He's trying to make it look better. That's him making it look better.
Oh, okay.
And Alex, I know he'll be sitting there going, she's being mean again, but it's actually hilarious.
I just bang Uber on like whatever I get. Like it's not even fancy. It's
to be
just
fair,
block
these
letters.
days it's really depressing because I've actually started signing things by accident, almost starting with Pansy rather than my actual signature. So I got I had to renew my passport recently, and I love the way we're just sat here chatting with no idea what's going on. By the way, any feedback would be awesome. But yeah, I had to renew my passport, and I literally went to sign it Pansy. Like, what else do you sign? Like,
who cares what you sign, though?
If I had Pansy in my passport, there might be an issue.
Why?
Because it's very visibly Pansy.
Oh,
it's
wow.
not even close to my name.
Just do a smiley face next to it as well. Border Patrol's going to be like, oh, yeah, everything seems to be fine.
Rushly has actually worked on the Pakistani Life server. No. We're going to continue talking here. No. Yeah, we can't go back to the analysis, I do believe.
Yeah, well, let's pass over to the boys here. It's a fairly pivotal moment in this game. Obviously, it's highlighted by Rushly's diagram.
Oh, wait. Are we good?
Okay.
It's not good.
All right, gents, take us away. Give us some field content, hey?
Awesome stuff. Thank you very much. Wow, I mean, I feel enlightened. We've learned our observer can draw to a certain extent. We've learned many things about various pocket squares. Mitch has an in-depth knowledge of August and his wardrobe. Sponge is going to put his wire behind his shoulder before we...
Oh, god damn it.
It's all right, man.
I'm new.
It's a new thing.
I'm new.
You know, we've got to make sure that the viewers don't... I mean, the wires don't exist. Henry, I can kind of see yours, actually, if you could... Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if we could just awkwardly... If you put your arm like in an awkward... Yeah. Oh, that's better.
I preferred the conversation about renewing of the passport.
I want to know the end. Do you want to know the end of that story?
I would love to know.
I know Natu stepped in at some point.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he did something with his like Finnish CS wizardry and helped her get a passport.
Wizard.
Something like that. Yeah.
Really?
But
Okay.
So it does seem like there has been a delay. Just to let everyone know at home what's going on.
Hey, Alex, do you want to know more about my passport?
Hey, Lauren. That was scary. That was like she was behind me. I got a little scared. I do want to know about your passport. Yeah, tell me. How did you get your passport?
Well,
this is lovely.
Hey,
look at this.
This is cool. I was definitely not on Reddit, but yeah, no, I was had to go back to London to renew the passport. It's filled with debaucherous people.
London?
Well, yes.
But the UK
Henry
in general.
is from there, as am I. But
why am I getting thrown in there?
Started off the show by saying something like that, mate. What are you talking about?
Sorry, should we go back to what you got up to recently,
I just
Henry?
want to tell the viewers that there's still a game. It's not over. Fnatic VP is still, it's like locked in, okay? It's still going to happen. Yeah. So that's what I've heard. I've been told that it's not over, and so Cbble is still to be played out at some point. It's just, from what I've heard...
At some point.
From what I've heard, it's not good. So let's start this passport story.
Yeah.
Well, let's go.
Take it away.
There's not much to say about it. I tried to renew my passport.
Cool.
I did it in the end.
Bit of a
Almost messed up my
punchline to this.
signature.
Better be going somewhere.
There's no end to this. This is just
right.
filler.
Keep going,
And then
then.
you guys put it up on the desk, thinking you can get away being a bit rude, and now I've had to explain it to you guys.
That was a really cool story. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Why don't you go back to that great analysis you've been doing?
Were we
so far?
rude?
That was Lauren there from the Cologne Studios. Thank you so much for talking about her passport. For now, though, you see, I can do like a news thing. What do you think? Yeah.
Coming in live from Cologne.
Yeah, so that's our passport story done. Now we're going to talk about, just quickly, a little bit of Counter-Strike before we do.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that? I don't know, it's up to you. I mean, because I just want everyone to know that it's the funnest thing, and I wish I could like periscope it, because when Henry and Sponge just sit there talking about the old CGS days, they're talking about like, he's just dropping knowledge bombs about VP and their Cbble strats on their T side, and I'm just sitting there like, I would be writing it down, but I don't have a pen. I can't quite afford
I can lend
one.
you one.
Oh, sweet. Okay, so Sponge was writing lots of things down. He was talking about they have a walk play on the A long on their T side?
Yeah, so...
Walk me through it. And why was Twist countering it? Because that was a fun story.
Well, Virtus, they like to do I call it a contact play.
Okay.
They walk A long with numbers, usually about 4 players, and then they have a player lurking either drop, it's sometimes Snack, sometimes Bialy, and they just contact play. So as soon as they find someone, they just frag them and just push onto the site. Now, Twist was playing up close, and he was throwing a Molotov early to delay that. Now, what's happening with that is it makes Virtus think that there's a player close, they have to use utility, and they have to waste time looking for him. Twist would throw that Molotov, he'd hang around, wait out the Molotov, and then he'd just back off to the site, which meant that a lot of time was wasted, and Virtus couldn't do their strat.
And I mean, another kind of criticism, this is the words out from your mouth, I'm just throwing you under the bus a little bit here, was they were looking rather one-dimensional. You didn't think there was much depth there at T-side. You're kind of sitting there thinking this is kind of underwhelming to witness.
So early on, there was a couple of retakes which really hurt their economy and stuff.
Sure.
They should have probably, won those rounds. Wenton and Twist were able to pull off 2 good retakes, I think it was. Yeah. But then after that, they were just doing really obvious B executes, and then just heading towards A with numbers. They weren't really having a lot of map presence. They weren't forcing the members of Fnatic to be uncomfortable. Just seemed very easy to read.
Yeah.
There was a lot of basic fundamental problems there. When they're doing the B takes, especially you do all the smokes and stuff like that, they weren't even checking like the basic corners or even flushing them out of the Molotovs. You saw like Dennis get 3-man spray downs. Players weren't even checking the most obvious corner on the upper platform. Yeah. There's things like that. When you get to 3-man spray down, you have to ask why. It's just, could we have avoided that by just one person checking that area? Everyone's jumping through the smokes and so fixated on the objective of getting into the bomb site, they're kind of forgetting the fundamentals of actually getting to the site. That seemed like a common problem. The retakes, players overfacing, chasing and getting themselves into a lot of unfortunate situations. And Fnatic just crippled their economy there. They did get 10-5 in the end. You have to remember, VP won both pistols. They got 3-0 either half as well. So the scoreline's actually pretty flattering for them, considering what's happened so far.
Yeah, and of course, I think we froze on 14-9, so that's where we currently reside. And if you have just joined us and wondering why on earth does it say 14-9 and why are we looking at the analyst desk, it does seem to be a technical hitch.
Do you know what it is?
I have no idea, dude.
We can talk about that game.
Oh, FaZe Mousesports have
We don't know what
played.
happened.
But yeah, we can talk about the result. Go, drop it. Drop the knowledge
Mousesports
bomb.
beat FaZe 16-6 on the first map, which was Dust 2.
Okay, sweet. So Mousesports are getting good results.
Who's posting the big numbers then for Mousesports?
Is it Mr. J? Am I making that
Chris
up?
J's got the highest rating at least.
Boom.
Nico, not far above. Nico, of course, most frags, 20 for 12, but Chris J with the highest rating. Oscar, 18 for 9. Great pickup for them, I think. It seems to fit the roster very well.
So this is some very tangible link. You talked recently about, Kassad's departure. We haven't talked too much about that because it's not quite as relevant on this stream. But coaching in general is an interesting discussion to have with Jumpy filling in for Fnatic. Or I say filling in. Of course, Virgo stepping down once the roster shuffle did go through. Now, the discussion was, I've asked Yanko in the past, I was like, so what's the story with Jumpy? And it just said like, oh, he played MYM, nothing huge in 1.6. And it does seem like there's a couple of, you can name a couple of coaches that never had a really big, a big time in CS, the higher echelons of competitive Counter-Strike, and yet still take these coaching positions. Is that something that can work? I mean, in my mind, in my, Stone Age man mind, I think you have to be good to...
fill in this. This is
what I'm thinking about,
His team brought in a caster to be an analyst, so...
Well, he was a player.
Yeah, but not a good one.
Oh, okay.
No one I've ever heard of, right? So,
So
he was a caster as far as I know. He wasn't part of a top-tier player.
This
He got
conversation
for an analyst. That's the step we're trying to make. He wasn't a big name within the scene, right?
So he wasn't a big name, but within Australia, he was an in-game leader.
Right.
And it was also friends with a lot of the guys in the team. So we had a good relationship there as well. But the idea behind a coach was just an extra voice.
Yeah.
We didn't, he obviously knows the game and he understands the tactical elements of Counter-Strike. So we needed somebody who could offer another opinion, who could help keep people calm, who could assist in that way. And then having that, the fresh set of eyes, it doesn't matter if it's a player who, has played at the highest level, just another perspective. And when you drill with the team and you work out, a game plan and stuff, he's there to offer the other view. And that helps. So somebody like Jumpy, who has played, he's played a lot of CSGO, I think, in middle tier kind of teams. He understands the way the game's played. So he knows how to apply that within, a team. So he's a good asset, I think.
So you don't always have to have someone that, could sit down and play. We've seen evidence of it all over. But do you not think there is a discrepancy? I mean, look at Threat. He was always regarded as someone who's got a very good understanding of the game to a very high level, and it's
there's
evident.
different types of coaches and analysts, right?
Okay.
So a coach, for example, is the one orchestrating the team, saying how he wants them to play, and he's kind of the one at the helm. Then you have an analyst who could be, his job is to do the research on the other team, show the nuances, deliver the information to the in-game leader he requires, and that's the kind of the difference really between the analyst and the coach. So
like Carter from Tyloo, because he's nuts. He does all these research. He's the one that does all the counter-stratting and stuff.
Sure.
Okay,
so there's different roles within that respect, and obviously there's hybrids to that as well. I think Threat would be known for doing all of the hard work, a very hard-working coach. And the thing is, he came into that team and he revitalized them. They're a team that was quite loose play style. Everyone knew what the approach was pretty much every single time they're going to play them. And all of a sudden, Threat comes into lineup and he completely changes everything. And that was a kind of honeymoon period that was for NIP. It looked amazing, right? When the Malmo came along and very innovative new strategies that no one really seen before, especially on Cbble. But it did start to plateau after a while. They became quite a rigid side. So this kind of idea that he's now the analyst and kind of allowing Ziz to bring his looser play style with the ideas that Fret's kind of come up with and still developing, I think that's a really good outcome for NIP as a whole. And they just won a big tournament with Standon as well. So that's promising, I guess.
I think, and that's an interesting discussion just to have while we do have time. It was something that we were talking about off air, this whole kind of the rigid NIP, or, we were talking about Na'Vi as well as another example of that with Simple, this kind of fiery player. Shad, can you give us the lowdown on your opinion of this in terms of, sometimes adding a bit of a curveball, a bit of a wild presence can actually have some positives to the team?
So I think with the NIP as the example that happened on the weekend, McLally is he's just an X factor. So he can appear at any time and get you multiple frags and lock down rounds. And then you have the 4 other players who have played together for such a long period of time and they're structured and they play Counter-Strike. So if McLally goes in and he only gets a 1-for-1 trade or something like that, they can then play the structured Counter-Strike around him. And I think the same should be used with Simple. Were you saying before that Simple's just taken over the roles of Zeus? Is that what you were saying before?
Yeah, 100%.
So I think like Simple is probably one of the best players at being an X factor, just run in and kill everybody kind of guy, right? So it would be really good to use the other 4 players as the structured guys and have Simple just as that guy just running in with the AWP and do what he wants.
Yeah, for now, Simple's literally just doing Zeus's role, and he's not even doing the secondary AWP, C's still doing that. They're going to be changing that for sure. We interviewed StarX, and he said that is the plan going forward. Simple will be secondary AWP, have more freedom to go as well. There just wasn't time. They had, like 2 weeks of online play. They can't restructure an entire team. That's not going to work. You could say, oh, this is what we're going to do. It's going to be brilliant. But you haven't got time to practice it. You might as well stick with what you knew worked in the previous lineup, and then you try and develop as you go on. I think trying to change everything before a big tournament was a bit of a big ask, right?
I think that's an interesting point, though, because you look at a lot of teams when they're in the honeymoon period, they normally adopt a new style with a new player, right? And Na'Vi are fighting against that. You know, they're not using the asset the way that he should be used.
The thing is, so StarX is still calling for that event that just went past. That's obviously changing as well, and there wasn't time to change everything, right? So they need to play the StarX's game at the moment. So it'll be going over to...
Who's leading?
Probably Seized?
Seas is going to be in game leading. That's right. So obviously for him, he needs some time to actually learn how to do that, download everything StarX has done already. They need to sit down and probably do that for a couple of weeks. So I think the idea was, right, we can use StarX as coach of this event. Let's do that. Let's try and play the old game, and we'll try and do the best we can. Obviously, it's good. I think it's good they lost. I think that's perfect. If they had won that event and not any problems, then it could have been more detrimental.
It would have planted some seeds of doubt. Yeah, for sure. Of course, he is talking about the coaching change. Of course, if anyone is unfamiliar, I have to acknowledge there are people who aren't always up to date. The new changes to the coaching role. We are going to be talking about coaches a lot with the Jumpy, Kassad and everything. They are no longer going to be as present, I think is the quickest way to summarize the TLDR. No longer be as present in game, only allowed to actually make calls throughout the timeouts, which they get
30 seconds. Same amount of like timeout, just spread out.
Yeah, and I mean, I do love that everyone has voiced their opinion on this. Have you voiced your opinion on this, Chad?
Yeah, I'm one of the people who...
You're an advocate?
No, people are crying about the change. I like the change. I think people are crying a lot about it. I think that it's important, you know, to have in-game leaders in Counter-Strike. They've been there for the whole time. Like, you have people who come out and they say it lowers the quality of games, right? If you had people who are just 5 fraggers and they had a coach giving all the plays and they can run around and shoot everybody and they don't have to think as much, then you're going to have a higher quality of Counter-Strike. I agree in some sense, but I think, like, I'm a purist, right? Like, and I was an in-game leader.
Exactly.
So I like in-game leaders in the game. I think they're important. I think if they're a liability like I was, then, you know, you need to get a better in-game leader.
Okay. So your response to the argument that, you know, if you look at traditional sports or other esports, that coach, you know, you basically put the best 5 physical players that can basically play the game mechanically as best they can, and then you have like the puppet master behind you. You don't like that concept at all?
It's... To be fair, like if you talk about that concept, it doesn't really work as a whole. Like, it sounds great on paper, but there's so much as an in-game leader yourself being in the server that you can't actually get by standing behind 5 monitors. That is the main thing for me. That's why, like, if you're the one actually listening for footsteps and you're hearing the nuances, you have those kind of, if you hit reloads, or just small little features, right? You're able to give on-the-fly calls with no input delay. It's not going from one guy to the other, and it's having to transcend between all the different players. I think that's a really important thing that a lot of people don't understand about in-game leading. It's not about running a script for each round. Like, so many different things, thousands of different variables going to run a Counter-Strike, right? And just being able to read those on the fly and having the feeling, it's a really difficult thing to describe, actually.
It's just instincts.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's things, there's some things you can't teach in CS, and that's one of them, I think. And just to address the point as well, if you have an in-game leader who thinks it's a really big deal that he can't frag and lead at the same time, he's basically not really cut out to do it. That's always been my understanding, right? If you can't do both of them, you shouldn't really be the leader. That shouldn't be an excuse, in my opinion. Oh, but I'm leading now, so I can't frag as much. I really feel like that's a bit of a cop-out sometimes.
Well, I mean, you cop out sometimes. Surely you just say always. You're forced on a weird line there.
No, because like some leaders, some guys are just forced on the role. Rain from FaZe comes through, right? Like, he never wanted to be in the game. That's more necessity, right? And that's understandable. He never wanted to do it. But guys like Pronax, for example, like, obviously a great mind in Counter-Strike like that, but if it's actually coming down to the point, people are like justifying him not getting frags because he's the in-game leader. I just don't think that's a justification. Like, he still obviously brings a lot to the team, but you can't justify the lack of frags because you're an in-game leader.
But there is no denying that there is a correlation between not leading and fragging. We've seen that with Existence. When he stepped down for a while, he was just running around dropping 30s. Like, we've seen examples at Sean Gares as well for a short period of time, and he was just given more freedom. He was fragging much more than he was under leader. So there is definitely, it does happen. It's just whether or not it's actually an excuse, a valid excuse, is definitely a different discussion to have. It does sound like you respond. Go.
Oh, do we have to throw?
No, at all. No rush.
I was just say, just looking forward Fallen, if you want to go down that
example.
road, right?
Yeah.
That's
The greatest Counter-Strike mind.
Right, exactly. So if you want to like use that as the best you can possibly be, like that's how can you use that as an excuse anymore? But the in-game leader shouldn't be able to frag. Someone's proven you can do it and do it very effectively as well. I used to love doing it because I could almost base the game around the stuff I wanted to do, the positions I'm in, and actually get my team into position just by the way I wanted to play the game around myself. Essentially, that was what so I could, the positions I'm in, the information I'm getting, and I could see what the best possible openings are. And the frags I was actually able to access for my team, then I can call stuff around that. So I actually think, in some ways, I actually preferred it because I actually made myself feel like more of a star. Like there was moments where I could actually take over just because of the stuff I was doing, you know?
Now, Chad, actually, I remember, I couldn't tell you what event it was, but I remember kind of either hearing your team communications or your post-match discussions, and you were like, oh, actually, we changed in-game leader for this match or this map. I've heard, you know, you'd throw around who was calling at various intervals. Am I making that up?
Something towards the end where we had like PK, the coach, he called for a little bit across some maps, and there was a point online where we tried to use different people to do in-game leading just to, you know, keep me fresh.
Did you feel fresh? Did you find some extra frags, or what's your opinion on this?
For me, it was like so up and down. It wasn't consistent at all. It was if I was feeling it, which is not really acceptable. You need to be, you know, consistent. If I was consistently getting a decent amount of frags, it would have been all right. But some games I'd have, and I'd play like quite well. Other games I'd just be the worst player in the world. Like I'd be like Hunden level.
Probably a slight
exaggeration. Well, you know, I wasn't doing very well, and I have moments in my career like where I played in like versus Titan at ESL Cologne. It was a good game. I played really well. We won the match. Like I was really happy. We play another one. I suck and we lose. So, you know, it's not all on me, but I just feel like I needed to be more of a consistent player.
Sometimes there's pressure within the team as well. There's not good results coming in. It seems like a quick fix, right? Like if things aren't going right, necessarily a bad run of results, you're just like, well, why don't we try this? It might work. It normally doesn't, but it's like it's something like to kind of revitalize everyone and kind of think, oh, we're trying something new now. This might be the answer. Right. 9 times out of 10, you go back to the original in-game leaders. That's where it was most comfortable.
We're talking about that with Virtus, about how they change in-game leader all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's how they've kept their roster for so long and kind of kept things fresh. But whoever is doing it at the moment, from what we've seen so far, it's pretty stagnant.
Yeah, and that's probably why you go around in these circles and they'll end up back in the or back to Taz, like whoever they feel most comfortable with. You can experiment and do as much as you like, but ultimately there's always going to be one standout guy for that job, I think. Yeah,
and I mean that seems to be the Virtus Pro way. There's so many ups and downs. I think the main opinion has been you win a league and then you have a very poor performance in offline or currently online. I mean, we see that they're sitting now 14-9, rather a lackluster start for them in their first map here of the ESL Pro League. It is still the first map. If you've joined us, you're like, oh man, I've missed all the action. You haven't. We haven't even got the first map done and dusted yet. Word on the street is, I'm pointing to my ear, word on the ear street is that we're nearly ready to go again. So it looks like we've resolved most of our technical issues.
It was looking like it was going to be Fnatic picking it up. I think it was 14-9 and VP had no money. So they almost guaranteed match point at this stage. And then I think it's just a matter of them closing it out.
Well, they were on a 3-round loss bonus. They have a
the 3-round loss bonus was going to be 4th, and they're on the CT side, right? So it looks like it's about to fall apart.
Looks like it could be over for the Polish side. I'm not sure if we're really ready. Is it time for more passport stories with Lauren? I'm just fishing for some information. Yeah, let's get some passport stories with Lauren. All right. I enjoyed this, gents. It's always a pleasure. We'll be back to talk about the next 2 rounds of play, likely, in just a moment's time. But for now, we'll head over to Uber and Pansy.
Thanks for that, boys. Good to hear a little bit more, I guess, from the personal experiences of Henry and Chad there on the desk. Not too personal, thankfully. As,
for once.
For once. We can try and keep it clean. But we're still not into the game yet. So, I mean, they've kind of passed back to us, which is kind of all well and good. But
I really like the content they were discussing on the desk as well. But, you know, passport stories are always a real highlight for most CS fans.
So obviously we're still waiting to get into this one.
Just salty as hell.
But basically the server needs to be reset. They need to restore it to whatever point it was, because it wasn't just us that lagged out, it was everyone.
So Mitch, when do you need to renew your passport, buddy?
Not until 2019 or something like that. 2023, actually. Nice. There you go, easy done. I got it done before I first came out here in the first place. So the best part of all this is that you get to see us in the throes of deep tilt. Just before the break. We're going to throw to a break, guys, while we get this one sorted out. So, you know, we don't have to regale you with more stories. Going deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole, we can take a break. And when we return, God only hopes we're going to be back with Fnatic versus Virtus Pro. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this game that we were waiting for quite some time to see the conclusion of. We should be only a few moments away now. We've had to reset the server and do some other things, so I'm not really sure what the money situation is or how that sets up, but it's 14-9 in favor of Fnatic. So we just need you to help us count up from there, guys. We can all count, surely should be fine. But VP didn't have a lot of money, so now they have guns. This is kind of the way things are.
That's just the way it is, Mitch. Things will never be the same. And already Snack's going to go looking for a little bit of something here. I'm finding it very hard to just kind of get back into this one. Like, actually, the teams are the same, falling back into this. But Fnatic did have quite the margin here to work with. So again, Virtus Pro looked a little bit rusty so far, but you know, there's a little more to be seen. Let's remember their scoreline was heavily bolstered by winning both pistol rounds on both sides. So
if you take that out the mix, they got 3 rounds in gun rounds.
So this should be Fnatic closing out, but you know that little bit of time difference can certainly change a mentality or two here. So maybe we could see a little bit of resurgence. And Snacks is going to want to kick that off, probably with a nice spray towards the smoke, but trades it out. And let's see if Fnatic instantly work off the back. It looks like they wanted to go aggressive, but a quick flash will hinder any sort of quick approach through middle.
Fnatic don't have to go towards A in this case. They can sort of back away, but they do intend to just to pressure on. VP still in the process of making rotation through, and Taz just tucked away in this corner. Will get the spot first. And any of the Fnatic players coming up from the middle area, but they, again, uncertain, not sure they want to connect. They pick off Pasha from long range. He was sitting back behind the armored car, thinning out the forces of Virtus Pro over on this site. It's going to be Bialy over at Juliet, and Taz now has the challenge into this one. Actually goes down to Wenton. You can't afford to lose those, and with Bialy, flames licking at his boots as he goes down to 74. He's got a huge amount of stuff on his plate, but he gets 3. He kills the man, and now one more to deal with. The USP comes out. It's not going to be enough. Damage, though, being dealt. There's no doubt about it. Lekro has to cross towards a bomb, which was being watched dutifully by Neo. Stunning performance from Bialy there, where all seem to be lost. He brings it back and keeps VP alive.
Okay. 15-10. I thought it was 14-9.
So did I. They might have won the round that we cut out on there.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. Okay, that would make sense. That's fine.
That
okay,
explains
so
why VP actually had guns that last round.
Yeah, because I was thinking they didn't have money for that.
Yep.
Right, okay, so that makes sense. So sorry, we must have missed the end of that round that the GoTV kind of had issues on, or the server had issues on.
So VP literally kept themselves in the game on match point there. So sick, Bialy.
All right, well played to him. That was massive. That initial connection was beautiful, but Olofmeister has managed to make it out towards platform unscathed thus far, which is actually pretty impressive. Normally he has been having troubles with this recently. This is where normally, you know, that classic Olofmeister would be just bounding through, but he's been having a couple of issues recently, making it as clear-cut as before, but certainly can do some damage from this, but Neo's not giving him much to work off. Neo's back towards the statue itself on the site. Pasha's watching the push-up, and now that Molly's going to come in and cause a little bit of issue, but Twister's got himself in towards drop, so Bialy can't be too comfortable.
Now, Bialy had to challenge him out there. Does manage to win that fight, and with Fnatic being forced to slow down on the B platform, they kind of now had to sneak their way back out. They've been slowed down well, but Olofmeister gets the pick on towards Neo to open things up. It's traded back into the favor of Fasher, and then it's traded back, of course. Bialy gets in with another 2. This guy featuring heavily on the kill feed, and now Lekro on his own in a 1v3. Starts off well. Bialy falls by the wayside, and Taz will stand behind the statue. Lekro gets a bit of a glimpse of him, just a peek, not enough to go on there. And with HE going in his direction, he also knows Snacks will be off towards the side. He's got himself the bomb here. 30 seconds left. It's not enough time to rotate out with Snacks being able to respond to Connector so quickly.
This is very possible at this point, and you're going to see as to why he finds Taz, and now into 1v1. Snacks, full HP, 0 utility, and not got a kit either. Lekro, nade and a flash, but ignoring door right now, maybe expecting him to push down from drop. That was not the case, and Snacks finds the angle, and Lekro goes down. So Virtus Pro live to fight another day, but when we actually had those issues coming on the server, Fnatic had a great deal of money, and they still do. So well enough set, but a couple of players now starting to look a little worse for wear, that being Olaf and one being Twist. Now they can be dropped out here. Dennis can drop one out as well. If he fancies, no, he's going to go on the AWP and say, well, screw you, Twist. I want the AWP. Why not? And Twist will have to operate on the fact of just a Tech 9. Now, just as viable, you can get into drop with this. You can pick up fallen teammates' guns. Of course, very, very likely that's going to happen at some point. We'll see how that affects him into this one. But the man of the moment is Bialy. He's been changing those last couple of rounds, keeping it well into check. And Fnatic going for a bit of a 3-2 play here. 2 towards long, 3 towards drop. Could be a split towards A, and that could certainly work well. But Snacks, minus something to say about that matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to do to Lekro what he was doing to the roast of Virtus Pro on the CT side. Flash comes in. That's going to give away the game. For Snacks, at least he knows what's happening, and he gets the shot towards Lekro. Looking for a second. Winton, though, able to get a trade here. That's important for Fnatic, as it's just going to be Taz on that A side. But Winton not inclined to really try to go too much further. And Olaf going down to 3 HP is going to be forced to take up the AWP. Just try and work from longer angles here. So no real inroads have been made for Fnatic. They traded out on A-Long, and now, so far, being a little bit stifled on B. So Olaf and Dennis now have to make this happen.
I wonder if Twist can get one of these guns. He can, I'm pretty sure. I don't think Taz has been able to kind of herd them away just yet. So that means at least he does get a rifle. And Fnatic, have a little bit more in their arsenal to build into this one. I like that double flash on long as well from Fnatic. Both of those flashes there, one was going to be turned, the second caught him, but still no real ground gain. The long push is slowly coming through here though. So Twist could be doing the smoke towards the doorway. I'm not sure what he has. Yeah, he's got the smoke in hand. So that's going to go down towards the door, I can imagine, just so they can cross up from long, focus on maybe APC on the site, and hopefully keep an eye on close, because Taz is not far away. Goes in on the spray, but he can't get it done, and Wenton breaks in. This looks like Fnatic is again building towards this A site. Two players are waiting though, and Bialy again has to be the danger man.
Again, he's been able to keep himself outside for the most part. Pasha gets himself two coming down here from Juliet, now pressuring on towards Olaf Meister. Moments for individuals here have been good for VP, but now they've got to get the job done. It's going to be Wenton with 3 kills to his name, left in a 1v2. The bomb is down, and Virtus.pro calling, trying to find him. Neo, no one does it better in those clutch situations. And he even had a teammate to help him out there. Nicely done by Pasha. An improvement on the form we've seen from him in recent times, struggling to really be the player with the penetrating power we've known him to have. But Virtus.pro not only keep themselves afloat, but when you win both pistols in the rounds following those, all you need to do is sprinkle a few of those gun rounds over to stay competitive, and they are. Still match point, but Fnatic a little bit dire in the financial situation.
Yeah, really looking a little worse for her. But, if you go back many a moon now to the previous Fnatic lineup, you'd say, well, they're going to win this one, of course. If it's a Tech 9 buy-up, this is the round that they always seem to turn around. They always manage to dig deep enough towards. But I don't know if that's really bled through into this roster just yet. We'll see if that's the case here, because Virtus.pro have read this relatively well. They've got almost all players posturing towards B. One player watching middle, that being Snacks with the AWP. But everyone else, eyes trained towards this B hit that's coming in. And already Olaf Meister does have a step towards the site. Quick little underhand flash. Pop flash goes down, gets himself already ahead of the molly, and he does take down one. Scalps Pasha, but gets burned alive. Doesn't see it trickling through from his boots. Now Snacks is aware where the pressure can come from, that being the window, and it's not his anymore.
Yeah, his already gets taken down, and Fnatic are more than happy to trade into these situations. This is excellent for the T side, making a lot happen with very, very little, and Bialy there being caught out. He went for the reload. It's his biggest mistake. And now it's going to be Neo versus Wenton. 1v1. Wenton has no idea where Neo is, though. And it's a very easy situation there for the man to come around and get the finish off. Fnatic going for a bit of a save round there, managing to cut VP low on numbers and on money, and now they need to buy in.
The thing is that A site was completely open. Of course, Fnatic didn't know that at the time, but once they'd taken down the one man with the AWP, which was that Snacks there by the window? Not too sure. Again, I think it was.
He had the AWP,
yeah. So, obviously they don't know that. They didn't know it was like a 4-1 at that point, but if only they'd had that little bit of an inkling, that could have been so much different. But the case is what it is. 15-13, Virtus.pro bringing it back, and my word, if we go into overtime after that break, what a game we're going to have on our hands. Already Olaf Meister straight out here. He's been given so much freedom in this position. Neo's got to be careful. Almost gets caught up on the statue, but the molly's still burning. Caught between a rock and a hard place, or maybe from the fire into the frying pan at this point. Pasha with the P90 going to add insult to injury, and Fnatic dwindling in numbers.
Yeah, the smoke and the Molotov interactions in CS quite interesting. Sometimes you obviously, in that case, there was the Molotov that wasn't quenched by the smoke, and Olaf Meister struggled to really see where it was until he sort of looked down at the ground. We managed to navigate that situation reasonably well. Unfortunately, still fell after the fact. So VP have Snacks here on the site. Flashed out briefly, and a second one comes in. So he misses that all-important first shot that we've seen him hit the last couple times. That's now going to apply a little bit more pressure to him as Fnatic can actually get within arm's reach, or not. As Wenton goes down, he's cut off by the wooden wall. Dennison is able to trade into one towards Neo, and that's going to keep the numbers advantage here. But VP are just looking so good now. Taz with a double. Snacks at point blank. And Necro falls there. So that was going to be Fnatic buying with the money. They don't have a lot to work with now in overtime. Again for Fnatic on this map. Again against an arguably weaker team. Have been taken out of regulation time if VP get over the line here in this round.
How frustrating for Fnatic. Being able to get this far, obviously having a little bit of a downtime, allowing Virtus.pro to talk through issues.
This is,
yeah, definitely momentum was sitting favorably to them. They had a bit of a, I guess, the bull by the horns at that point, but now it looks like Virtus.pro have everything they need here to take this one into overtime, of course. Olaf Meister again, given just enough rope to hang himself with, it seems, every time he gets out to this platform, loses out in one way or another. Hasn't really effectively traded as he has in previous in times in past, but cut off this time, doesn't even have the opportunity.
Winning a duel with a player at statue with an AK, well, with only Galil, sorry, against someone with a rifle is going to be really difficult as well for Olaf Meister. So He'll need to have his wits about him. He can't go for too many cheeky posts, but now Fnatic just going to flood onto the side. This worked for them before, but not this time. Biali gets himself two to shut them down as they try and approach, but Dennis with a double responding well. Fnatic trading. This is perfect for them yet again. This is what they want. Pasha goes for the smoke. Again gets caught with a grenade in his hand. It's the second time this match, and this time might be the most costly mistake. Snax is forced back. It's an aid towards his feet with the AWP, not the retake weapon you're looking for. And Fnatic on match point here look to be able to take the game if Snax can't make anything happen.
And it's down to the two veterans, Dennis and Olaf Meister. They will not let this one slip. They know what's on the line here, and the best he can hope for now is a UMP. There's nothing else there for him, and Olaf Meister watching that cross towards the site. Lovely after-plant situation means that finally Fnatic close it in those final throws of that game.
Well, I mean, it's pretty safe to say that a pause of that length is an absolute hard reset. So frustrating for Fnatic to be poised on the precipice of winning that map in regulation time, still get it done eventually. We saw VP build up a little bit of momentum there towards the end. But every time we saw Fnatic do that push off of the B platform with more than just Olaf Meister, generally it's working out. The fact that you lose two players to someone sitting up on the tree box, as I like to call it, and still survive is pretty impressive and be able to finish the round off there.
No, I can't agree more. Again, though, that looked dangerous. That felt like, you know, that pause, that time out, a little bit of a reset certainly helped Virtus.pro kind of regain their composure and come back into this one. But as I said, Fnatic closed out, but there is still another map on the horizon.
Absolutely. Before we get to that one, we are going to pass over to Machine and the rest of the desk to put this map under the microscope.
It's not a microscope, Mitch. We have definitely overstayed our welcome on Cobble. That's been a long Cobble thanks to a couple of technical difficulties, and so this will be a short, however insightful analyst segment. Henry and Chad are joining me. Let's do it, gents. Okay, I'm going to give you a point each. That's it. You get to make 1 point about Cobblestone. Henry, take it away.
CT side, very solid for Fnatic. We said that coming into this one. They have got that one nailed. It looks good. T side, it still needs a bit of work. Virtus.pro were able to shut them down, get back into the game. Technical difficulties did make things a little bit interesting there towards the end, 16-14. Snacks in the clutch as well. Could have happened. I'd have liked to see the overtime. Didn't really come to fruition. So VP starting slow, coming back hot, but Fnatic take it. Is that enough for you, Alex?
That was lovely, very succinct. What we're watching now, by the way, in case anyone's wondering, this is the collection of retakes that we saw Twist and Fnatic finding in that first half. You're talking about that solid CT side. Those retakes certainly helped, didn't they, Chad?
Definitely. My little point is Olaf was really not there in that first half for Fnatic, and they still managed to get a 10-5 half. So it'd be interesting to see if Olaf can get some more frags on the next map and how that's going to impact Fnatic's run.
Yeah, you were freaking out. Like, you were looking at the score, it's like 9 frags for Olaf. That's very rare, right?
At 7-3, he only had 3 kills. I know they were winning quite convincingly, but that's for Olaf, you know, that's pretty unheard of.
And other people are taking the mantle. Wenton at the top of the scoreboard. Just while these replays are running, Henry, you've got a bit of extra time.
Yeah, we had VP winning both pistols as well. Quite an interesting point. Normally, these top teams, you're getting 3-0s both halves. You should be really close in the games out. Wenton, a great game from him. We talked about whether he can actually handle this role of being the in-game leader. We're not quite sure whether he's doing that just yet. But if he is starting to do it and he's able to post those sort of scores with players like Olaf and Dennis in the team and they're not getting all the frags, that's pretty impressive. And I'm sure that'll help boost his confidence going forward.
Well, we are singing the praises of Twist, and just while he is a topic of discussion.
He was great, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly was. Definitely the kind of, to use the buzzword, impact frags. It's definitely something worth mentioning.
Well, yeah, you talk about impact frag. There's no more impactful kind of frags you can get than 5 on 2 retakes and actually getting 3 kills and the big rounds that will reset your economy as well. That was fantastic from him. We normally know him to be like one of the upcoming AWPers of Sweden. That was a big storyline coming into this. So he's quite an unknown player in terms of rifling. A lot of people were saying when he was going towards NIP, he could be the AWPer for them and actually step into that role. I'm not sure why that didn't happen. I thought he was going to be the AWPer of this team, but it seems like Dennis is actually doing that more so than him. So it's quite cool to see him with the rifles and actually stepping up and looking pretty world-class at the moment.
Yeah, a lot of fluidity with the Fnatic roster. It does seem, like we've seen Olaf pick up the AWP as well on some maps. It does just seem like that personal preference thing. I would love to talk about that further, but I think we should just take our break so we can go ahead and try and get as close to that schedule as we possibly can, because we've got so much more to look forward to. Another 2 best-of-1s after this coming map. We have Dust 2 up next between Fnatic and VP. A very close affair on Cobble. We'll see if it can be similar over on Dust 2. We'll be with you in just a moment.